How do you interpret this guy? Trela?
Trela, yes.
I was flying in last night from Baton Rouge, and the Delta flight had TVs in the headrest, and everything was tuned to the Ariana Grande concert.
Yeah, I heard about that, man.
That is such a tragedy. I don't understand how people do things like that.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised that the flags aren't half staff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a beautiful day for baseball at Clearwater, Florida. The postseason is here. Welcome to the 2017 American Athletic Conference Baseball Championship. Day one, game one between the co-conference champion Houston Cougars and the Memphis Tigers. And good morning, everyone. Alongside Grant Woolwall, I'm Victor Anderson. Haley Outen will join us in just a moment. For Memphis, coming in as the 7th seed, a very productive year. The Tigers looking to make some noise in the postseason. They got a big bat in Chris Carrier, who could do the damage for the Tigers.
Carrier, a leader for this program. He's a football-sized guy, 6'3", about 225 pounds, first-team all-conference. He increased his home runs from 6 last year to 14 this year. Pretty impressive bat, and he leads an offense that's actually improved a little bit in conference play, batting about 270. They average just over a homer a game.
And for the Houston Cougars coming in, co-regular season champions of the conference, Jake Shiner, Player of the Year, can play a little bit of everything in that infield.
Oh, he's been great for them since coming in as a JUCO transfer. He's the Player of the Year for a reason, batting .337, 15 homers. He takes a lot of walks as well and has 52 runs driven in. Nobody has won more than Houston in this tournament since the conference started in 2014.
They made a championship all 3 years. They're going to make it a 4th consecutive year. They had to get by the Tigers to do so. Starting lineups in first pitch coming up from Clearwater on the American Digital Network.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
is underway here at Spectrum Field as Tyler Webb leads off for his Memphis Tiger lineup. Taking on Carter Henry. Gets inside for a strike, counts out even at 2-2. Victor Anderson with you alongside Grant Wolvard. Haley Allen will talk to her throughout our broadcast this morning. Chopper over to third. He's playing for the Player of the Year, Scheider, and just retires Webb on a bang-bang play at first, one down.
Carter Henry, a true freshman out of Port Neches, Texas, and if it looks like a big guy out there, it's because he is 6'4", 215, throws hard, has a nice mix of off-speed stuff, and he's had a pretty successful season this year, Victor.
Yep, very successful. It's usually that midweek starter for Houston. Comes in 2-1, making his 6th start on the season. 14th appearance overall for the big right-hander on the mound for this Houston Cougar team. And up comes Brandon Gruzelanek, and for those of you baseball fans, and that last name sounds familiar, he is the nephew of former big leaguer Mark Gruzelanek. First pitch swinging, deep fly ball to right, could be trouble. That ball is gone. How about Brandon Gruzelanek on the first pitch? He touches them all for the 5th time this season, puts the Tigers on the board, 1-0.
Unbelievable show of power from the 2-hole hitter, and his team is out of the dugout to congratulate him there. Went the opposite way with it and crushed it into the wind over the right field wall.
And you mentioned that Memphis averages a home run per game.
There it is.
On pregame, and there it is. First pitch, and looks like Henry just missed his target on the outside half.
Yeah, he went on the outside part of the plate, and Gruzelanek cleaned it up over the wall 335 feet away.
And here comes the first team All-American Conference selection, Chris Carrier. 318 hitter, 14 home runs, 44 runs driven in. First pitch is low, ball 1. Scott Graham behind the plate calling balls and strikes. Grady Smith, Asa Howard, Mark Yule, the umpires around the infield from first to third. Ground ball scooped, easy play by Shiner, 2 down. So 2 outs for Memphis in their top half of the first. As you take a look at the Houston defense, a very strong defensive lineup for this Cougar team. Top 3 in the conference in the fielding percentage, and Shiner makes it all go, playing everywhere in the infield except first base this year.
Nice to have a big hitter behind the plate as well. Connor Wong, double-digit home runs. It's always nice to have somebody with a little pop who can throw them out and hit them out.
Up comes Trent Turner. This is down low, ball 1. Turner, the senior, hitting .288, 7 long balls and 41 RBIs. Gets a piece off the 1-0 and fouls it towards the Houston dugout. Houston has the higher seed, the designated home team. That will be the case for all 4 of our opening round games today. 8 o'clock Central Time first pitch for these 2 teams. The heavy swing by Turner, count 1-2, and having to play at that early start time, your body clock, you're still trying to wake up. So for Memphis to get that home run for Gruzelanek in this top of the first inning is huge for them. Fast swung through and strikeout, and throwing it over by Wong will complete the strikeout. Henry gets out of the first, but gives up the Gruzelanek home run. And Gruzelanek swinging on the first pitch. Puts the Tigers on the board, and the Cougars look to get it back in the bottom of the first, coming up on the American Digital Network.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones, not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
Connor Wong, the spark plug for this Houston Cougar offense, will look to pick up that run they gave up in the top half of the first. As we take a look at the Cougar starting lineup, Shiner, the player of the year, playing third today and hitting third. Joe Davis, the first team all-conference selection at DH, will be hitting fifth. And then you see Triolo, Lockhart, Grimsley routing out the bottom third of the Cougar order. It's a Houston team that likes to bang the ball around. One of the top offenses in the American Conference. And they're going to take on a sophomore and Jonathan Bowling, Garrett, who has shown signs of being that strong midweek starter for the Tigers.
And he's gotten stronger as the season's gone on, Victor. His last 4 starts, he's gone 7 innings plus, but in 3 of those, he's taken the loss. Hasn't gotten the run support that he needed. He's a big guy out there, 6'6", just under 240 pounds, and like you said, a sophomore. This is really his first extended appearance in this tournament. Let's see how effective he can be against the conference champions.
Looking for his first victory since April 23rd versus USF, when he went 6 innings, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts, and picking up the victory. So here comes Connor Wong, a rarity, seeing a catcher as a leadoff hitter, but when you're someone as dynamic as Wong, hitting 11 home runs, 33 RBIs, also with 22 stolen bases, shows you that diversity he has. First pitch by Bolin, low and away, 1-0.
Wong, about 6 foot, 180 pounds, in his junior season now from just south of the Houston area in Pearland, Texas.
And misses low and outside again, does Bolin, count 2-0. And this is the double elimination tournament in the American Athletic Conference Baseball Championship. It's so important anytime you're in a double elimination format, Garrett, to win that opening game and set your rotation up as Wong fouls it back, count 2-1.
And now that these games have been moved up a day, you can really give yourself a rest advantage, too. You win today, you take tomorrow off, and you get to set up that pitching rotation like you mentioned, try and make it to the semifinals, and then anything can happen in the winner-take-all championship game.
If you lose, you come back right here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central. Wong swings at a 2-1 breaking ball, sends that one foul towards the right side, count even at 2-2.
The reality is that 2 teams over the next 2 days are going to end up going home by Wednesday. Somebody's going to take 2 losses, and their tournament's going to be cut short here in Clearwater. So getting off on the right foot's the way to go.
Bolin 2-2. High chopper. Could be a tough play for the shortstop. And goes to first base, and he just gets him. Alec Trela with the bang play, getting a speedy Wong. And she's take a look at the Houston defense. That we saw on the top of the first. The Memphis defense, a very improved defense, met with Trailer over at short, and it's a defense for Memphis that if they can keep the ball in play and not let Houston get that speed on the bases, it could do well for Bolin as he goes further along in this game.
I like the guys up the middle, Cold Iron and Hollis. Those guys are a nice combination. You saw Cold Iron there on the play, the little slow hopper by Connor Wong, who you know has good speed. You got to make that good transition from ball, get it over to first base, and he did that.
Yep. Hollis at the plate, 259, 2 home runs, 24 runs driven in. Misses down low. Bolin really struggling trying to hit that outside half of the play early on. Houston took 2 out of 3 versus Memphis in their series. Played back in late April. And misses low again. And for Bolin, you can't, there's no easy outs with this Houston lineup. You can't, there's no free lunches 1 through line with Coach Penders in this lineup he's put out here today. And you're seeing that right now with this good at bat by Hollis. Heavy swing by the junior second baseman. Counting 2-2.
See the right-hander bust him a little bit high and outside, swung right through it.
Count even 2-2. 1 down. Bottom of the first. Memphis on the board with a 1-out home run by Brandon Gruzelanek to the right field wall. Hollis golfs one, so it's foul. And we'll do it all again. Count 2-2.
Last couple of pitches by Bolin have hit 92 on the radar gun here at Spectrum Field.
And for Bolin, you want to get this top half of the order for Houston in order with Shiner on deck and get your lineup back out in the top of the second. 6th pitch of the at-bat. Hollis will send one to center field, playable for Tyler Webb, who makes the routine can of corn catch. 2 down. And look like Hollis got a good swing on a pitch down in the middle of the plate, but wasn't able to extend it out and end up being a routine center Webb. So up comes the co-conference player of the year, Jake Shiner. 337. Leads the American Conference in home runs with 15 and RBIs and 52. And Bolin, first pitch, trying to go away.
And if you're the head coach for Memphis, Darren Schoenrock, you're kind of breathing a sigh of relief. This is one of the premier RBI men in the conference. He doesn't have anybody on base in front of him now.
And it takes it outside pitch, calls strike. Says Scott Graham behind home plate. Count is even at 1 ball and 1 strike. And again, Bolin sticking with that game plan. First time through this lineup. Pitching heavily on the outside. Count now 2 balls and a strike. See if Shiner gets something inside. Instead, he'll get one down low. Misses a corner. Count 3-1.
Take a look at the pitch. Bolin finishes a little bit low. Santana can't bring it up.
Always want to try and steal strikes, as they say, if you're a catcher. And Shiner sends a shot to deep left center field, and we are tied up. The co-player of the year in the American Conference, as if on cue, says hit 16th ball out of the park, and we're tied up at 1. He's trying to get a little cute, try and blow one by him on that inside third of the plate, and Shiner made Bolin pay.
A hit apiece for both these teams in the tournament. Both of them are home runs.
And you see the Thor-like hammer outside of the third base dugout. We'll talk a little more about that during our broadcast this morning. Haley Allen with more on that little unique baseball tradition the Cougars have. First pitch is up at ball 1. And here's that swing by Shiner one more time.
He had to throw a strike, leaves it a little bit over the heart of the plate, and he cleans this one up, too, over the left center field wall.
And I miss this down outside. Count is 2-0. To Corey Julks hitting .309, 5 home runs and 35 driven in for the junior. Misses low and outside again, 3-0. This is a Houston team, co-conference champions with UCF. UCF, the number 1 seed by virtue of winning their series 2 out of 3 a month ago. Houston, a relatively young team, only 1 senior, 5 draft-eligible juniors, including Julks.
And 16 freshmen.
How about gets past the hustling Alec Trella, and Julks will extend the inning with a 2-out single.
Bolin's got to settle down quickly. In 78 innings pitched in the regular season, he'd only given up 3 home runs. Very good at limiting the long ball. Now he's given up a solo shot and let a man on first. Back-to-back hits against Bolin.
And if you're Memphis, you don't want to try and get in your bullpen early on, especially with the heart of this Houston order coming up. And here's the designated hitter, Joe Davis. Davis first pitch swinging, and Cougar lineup, a very aggressive lineup, especially with the success that Shiner had with his home run this year.
Davis, the preseason conference player of the year. He was the rookie of the year at 6 foot 230 last season.
Bolin will toss it over to first, and Jokic slides in safely underneath the tag of the first baseman, Trent Turner. Bottom of the first, tied at 1. Each team with a solo home run. Shiner with the bomb for Houston. And Grizzlonic with the round tripper for Memphis. Bolin from the stretch. Davis hits a hold of one that will go foul beyond the stands. Count now 0-2. Davis hitting an even .300, only a sophomore. 7 home runs, 44 RBIs. One of 4 Cougars in his lineup with at least 5 home runs as Bolin tosses back and Jokes dives back in at first. Bolin delivers the 0-2, misses low. Nice stop behind the plate by Santana. Don't want to give Jokes a chance to run over at first. 13 stolen bases and 18 opportunities this year for the junior left fielder. 1-2 count coming up. Misses high, a bit of a pitch out, and Jokes gets back underneath the tag of Turner. Count is all even, 2-2.
Davis, spectacular last year when he led the American in RBIs and slugging. Has played in almost every game this season. Saw the power numbers come down just a little bit. Not quite as much to hit after you announce yourself like that as a freshman.
Bolin now gets the sign from Santana. Jokes runs, 2-2 is low. Jokes slides in, ball kicks away from the second baseman, Grizzlanic. And Jokes with that speed now with his 14th steal in the year.
Got a pretty good jump, too, and the pitcher knew it. Bolin throws outside to set up Santana, but sliding in safely with the first stolen base of the game.
Had a pitch out on the 1-2. See if Jokes was running. He ran on the next pitch. And now Davis has a full count working. See if Jokes will be in motion here. He is not. Misses low, ball 4. So Bolin, after getting off to a good start, recording the first 2 outs, gives up the home run to Shiner. Jokes with the single, and now Davis walks. Yes. And as right now, you really have to see with Santana trying to calm himself down.
Just work through it.
Cooper Cold Iron will come to the plate for Houston now with 2 on and still 2 out in the bottom of the first. Cougars looking for some more runs after that Shiner home run to left center to tie this game at 1. Bolin again from the stretch. Cold Iron misses that one low, takes that one low, count 2 balls and count a ball and a strike. Cold Iron only making his 8th appearance this season. Made his season debut during the Tulane series. After being ineligible for the majority of the year. Check, swing, foul. Count now 1-2. This will be the 30th pitch for Bolin in the bottom of the first, and it was a good start to the first. Got one on the ground out. Hollis to fly out to center. And he gave up the home run to Schneider. Last 3 Cougars have reached. Bolin fakes over. Nobody covering Jokes at second. Jokes reached on a single that just got past Alex Trella, and Joe Davis walked. 1-2. Way in front of that one. And I'll say he was down on the ground, and Santana will throw it to first to complete the strikeout to end the inning. But the Cougars get the home run back. Out of player of the year, Jake Shiner. His 16th home run of the season. And we're back where we started, all even at 1. On the American Digital Network, we'll be back with the top of the second.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
Some of the contingent making their way from Memphis, enjoying themselves here in Clearwater, Florida at Spectrum Field. Welcome back to our coverage of the 2017 American Baseball Championship of the American Digital Network. Glad you're making us a part of your morning routine wherever you are watching our broadcast. Victor Anderson, Garrett Boulevard, and Haley Outen. We'll talk to Haley in just a few moments, as Carter Henry will go back on the bump, all even after that 2-out home run by Jake Shiner in the bottom of the first to tie our game up at 1. We'll deal with the 5, 6, 7 portion of the Tiger lineup. First pitch pops away from the catcher Wong to the shortstop Alec Trella.
Last year, Memphis, a pair of wins in this tournament under Coach Schoenrock. Houston eliminated them.
This is a catch the outside corner. Count even 1-1.
And, of course, the Cougars went on to play in the tournament title game for the 3rd season in a row. They won it all in 2014.
Trella with a routine fly ball to right center. And it'll be Grimsley making a catch, calling off Triolo. One down in the top of the second.
Did a nice job of keeping that ball low in the zone, puts it high in the air, and he's got plenty of time to get under it.
Very spacious outfield at Spectrum Field, the home of the Philadelphia Phillies Class A affiliate Clearwater Threshers of the Florida State League. One breaks in for a strike. Zach Scherdenthal hitting .259. This is high and outside. Henry this year 2-1. As he gets that pitch, as he gets a swing by Scherdenthal foul, count is 1-2. Looking for his first win since back in March 22nd, almost 2 months ago, versus Texas Southern. Picked up the win, give up an earned run on 5 hits and 5 innings of work. Now it's going to be another easy fly ball to left center, and again, John Grimsley, who's been all over the place for Houston early on, makes his second consecutive putout.
Memphis trying to pull a lot of balls. That one flies out into left center field. It worked for Grudzalanek. He put one over the wall. Might need to try and catch up to the speed of Carter Henry.
So 2 down. Up comes the designated hitter Andy Bowman. Healthy swing on a pitch low, breaking inside for strike 1. Bowman hitting .257, 5 home runs, 36 RBIs. Part of the lefty portion of this Memphis order. 3 of the last 4 hitters for the Tigers are left-handers. Jason Santana, who's on deck and would hit if the inning continues, the lone righty among that foursome. Good pitch by Henry, misses his spot on the outside. Count is 2-1.
Bowman, one of 5 seniors in the starting lineup today for Memphis.
Pitch elevated, fastball, count even 2-2.
Thought he might have gotten a piece of this one a little bit high in the zone. Swings through it. No, that's back into the mid.
Henry working quickly. This is away, count full 3-2. The Memphis program looking for their 6th 30-win season in the last 7 years. Low ball 4. Bowman will trot over to first.
And you'll see Bowman look back to make sure the umpire didn't say he swung through that one, held up the bat, and trotted down to first base. That's the first walk given up by Carter Henry.
So 2 down. And up comes the catcher, Jason Santana. Santana, a sophomore, hitting .229. 19 driven in with a home run. First pitch fastball, it takes for a strike. Henry's pitched 35 in the third innings. Only 14 walks, 35 strikeouts. Opponents batting .291 against the freshman. Nice looking breaking ball. Santana in front of that one, count 0-2. Henry, the usual midweek starter for Houston. Trying to keep this game tied at 1. Can't do so right there. Santana fouls off the 0-2 offering.
Houston's pitching staffs continue to lead the nation in several categories. Just continue to punish opponents with that downhill pitching. Low ERA, high strikeouts per 9 innings. And right now, Carter Henry strike away from getting out of the inning.
Can't do so there as another foul ball by Santana. Houston top 10 in the nation in ERA. Second in the conference in ERA behind UCF and their dynamic pitching staff. And Coach Craig Lovelady was named the American Conference Coach of the Year earlier this week.
Bowman has just 2 stolen bases on the year in 3 attempts. Not much of a threat to steal, especially with 2 outs. Trying to see if Santana can put the ball in play.
So we do it again. 0-2. Gets him looking on the outside corner. Santana gets rung up. Nice time for Henry to pick up his first strikeout. And that will end the inning. We talked about the tradition for Houston with the Thor bats. And for more on that, let's take it down to the third member of our team, Haley Alton.
Well, the co-regular season champs have had an outstanding season offensively, highlighted by the most home runs a Houston team has hit since 2008. The now 50 home runs this year brought about a new team tradition. Joe Davis's brother made the team a hammer, and if you've seen the movie Thor, you probably know what I'm talking about. We watched it enter the stadium today. A very powerful object, weighs about 30 pounds, and guys, this thing travels everywhere with this team. The deal is the last person to have hit a home run gets to carry the hammer into the stadium. Today, the honors were done by junior infielder Connor Hollis. We've already seen one go long today, so as it stands, the hammer is in the hands of the co-player of the year, Jake Shiner, for the next game.
Thank you very much, Haley. And baseball, and every team has so many unique traditions, and Houston, one of them. And the key that she mentioned is the last player to hit the home run. So if nobody else goes deep for Houston today, Mr. Shiner will be carrying that Thor hammer in that next game, and hopefully it'll be a victorious one, and he won't have to carry it until Wednesday.
And you can bet our cameras for the American Digital Network will be rolling
yes.
if the player of the year has got to carry Mjolnir, the famed hammer of the Thunder God.
A 30-pound hammer? Man, that could get you a good upper body workout. Do some curls, do maybe some tricep extensions if you could.
I'd like to see at the end of the season if they can pick up a championship or 2, autograph that thing and put it in the trophy case.
Maybe autograph the bat with, maybe autograph the hammer with it as well. A long ways to go for that possibility to come to fruition for the Cougars. Bottom third of the order coming up in the bottom of the second. Triola will lead off, followed by Lockhart and Grimsley. Triola swings at a first pitch, routine play by Schrittenthal. 1 pitch and 1 down in the Cougar second.
Schrittenthal is going to make a pretty nice pickup here on a hard hit ball down the line. He's in his 4th season and just continues to make plays for the Tigers. I've seen him infield over off the hot corner the last 3 years here in this tournament, and just an impressive guy playing over at the hot corner.
And for bowling, you want to get that rough end to the first inning out of your system, and it helps to get that first pitch ground ball out. Lyle Lockhart, first pitch, for a strike. Lockhart, one of those 16 freshmen that Garrett alluded to on his Cougar team, hitting .245, 17 driven in with a home run. Taking ball, misses on the outside edge, count even 1-1.
And that just speaks to the great job that Todd Whitting has done with this team. 16 freshmen, and they're conference champs yet again.
Misses low and away. Count 2 balls and a strike. And this is a Houston program, no stranger to championships, especially in the American Conference. This is down low and inside. Count now 3-1. They've won and shared a conference championship 3 of the last 4 years in the American Athletic Conference. That one's fouled out by Lockhart. Count full 3-2. Prior to 2015, they had not won a share the conference championship since 2002, back when they were the members of the Mountain West Conference.
Whoa. Under head coach Rainer Noble. Pretty proud program. A couple of College World Series trips on their dossier.
And that's going to be a base hit dropping down. A beautiful swing by Lyle Lockhart. Takes a wide turn and will end up with a 1-out single.
Lockhart does an incredible job here. The previous pitch by Bolin was 91 miles an hour. He goes off speed here at 83. Oh, I'll just go the opposite field with it. And he's got the first hit of his career here in Clearwater.
And a nice swing by Lockhart, as you alluded to, keeping that ball, keeping that barrel of the bat extended enough to go the opposite way. Get that 1-out single. Here comes the 9-hole hitter, John Grimsley, who's been a very active individual this morning in the outfield and center. Hitting .227. First pitch fouled off. That pops out of the glove to catcher Jason Santana. And for Houston to be so good, winning a share of the conference championship with a team that's so young, you alluded to the 16 freshmen that they had, Garrett. It's a testament to not only their head coach, but the coaching staff as well, how they cultivate and develop these players when they come in the program and give them a defined role when they come in. It's timeout called by umpire Scott Graham.
Whitting's done a great job of holding on to his coaches. He came to Houston in July of 2010, 2011, his first season there, and they've been on the up and up ever since. They've got 35 or more wins the last 4 seasons in a row. And guys like this, a freshman starter last year, now a sophomore contributor, Grimsley, he's a great college baseball player at like 5'8", 180 pounds. You might not play in the pros, but you're certainly going to make a difference here at the collegiate level.
And Bolin's pitch count already up 37 pitches for Bolin. With just an inning and a third into this ball game. Don't want to go into that bullpen so early, especially as that one misses outside. Count is 1-1, especially if you have to turn around if you lose this game and play tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Eastern in an elimination game. Lockhart not a threat to steal. It's perfect in his 3 stolen base attempts this season.
That is a big part of Houston's game, though. 72 steals on the season for the Cougars. That has been an advantageous part of their offense.
Lockhart with a little bit of a sizable lead. All is low. Nice stop by Santana. Lockhart not attempting to test that arm of the sophomore catcher. Our next game coming up at 12 noon Eastern, the 3-6 matchup. UConn, who made it to the championship game last year before falling to Houston, will take on the Cincinnati Bearcats. The 2 winners will play tomorrow on Wednesday afternoon. High Papa had to fight the sun, and coming in will be Tyler Webb to make the play. Had to fight along with Trella and the left fielder, Colton Neal, but it's Webb who makes the catch. Out number 2 in the second. Talked about Grimsley with a busy morning and Tyler Webb a busy afternoon as well.
Little pop fly into right field. That's an easy out. Now you still have a man on, but starting to move the lineup around here for Houston. This is going to get dangerous for Memphis. Let's see how much Bolin can lock in with a man on.
Lineup turns over with the catcher Connor Wong. Bounced out to short. His first time at the plate. Two outs and Lockhart over at first, and will ease his way back after the throw by Bolin. Alluded to UConn. Their next game playing Cincinnati. Knocked off Houston in the championship game just 1 year ago here at Spectrum Field. It swung high by Wong. Now 0-1.
Got to be careful here. You don't want to get behind in the count. The wind really blowing out through left field. You take a look at this swing here. Put everything you had into it. Nice squeeze behind the plate by Santana. But just don't leave anything elevated.
And you could, the best way to throw one high, break it down low, and that's Bolin did there. As Wong now trails 0-2. And you know if you're bowling, if you can get Wong out here, strand Lockhart at first, you only have to worry about that 2, 3, 4 portion of the order in the third. Here's the 0-2. Wong gets another making ball and fouls it just out the top of his bat towards the Memphis dugout along the first base side.
I'm sure Bolin felt great about coming into the game and having a 1-run lead, and Player of the Year, Jake Shiner, quickly tied it up with a solo shot into left center field. Again, try and keep these pitches low, keep Houston off balance.
40 pitch. Lockhart goes, misses inside. Throw to second base, and sliding safely underneath that tag was Lyle Lockhart. He'll get his 4th stolen base at as many attempts. So Cougars again with a runner in scoring position.
Well, the team that came in with all the success in stealing bases was Houston. And they're doing it here, 2 for 2. Looking pretty sharp with a guy who only had 3 steals on the season.
And a nice slide by Lockhart, sliding on the outside half of second base to avoid that tag by Turner. Coming in to try and apply that tag. Bolin looks over at Lockhart at second. This is a nice stop by Santana. He's been very active behind the plate in his second inning. Bolin in the first was trying to find that outside half of the plate. Now in the second inning with those breaking balls, making Santana work behind the plate. A nice stop by the sophomore backstop.
Not sure if that ball missed its spot or if it just had a little more break to it than Santana was expecting, but he had to bust down, get out and block it. Otherwise, you've got a runner 90 feet away on third.
Wong, who is a dangerous hitter, and even though he leads off, can drive in runs with the best of them. 33 RBIs for Connor this year. Connor Wong. And he'll send one to left center. He'll make it 34 RBIs on the year. That will bring home Lockhart. Wong will end up at second base with his 12th double, and the Cougars gain the lead 2-1.
Don't call it small ball because that was an RBI double, but that stolen base put him in position to score. Lockhart comes around on that soft little flare out into left center field. Let's take a look at the hit here. It was sinking, and he went down and got it. Great piece of hitting there by the leadoff man, and now they'll take the lead 2-1.
And Wong got 2 similar pitches to that to get the count even 2-2. He knew Bolin was going to throw it again, try to get it on the inner third, and Wong just a great piece of hitting to send it to the gap in left center and give the Cougars the 2-1 edge. Up comes Connor Hollis. Flew out to center. First pitch up and in. It's a Houston program getting 285 coming into the tournament, 3rd in the conference. East Carolina pacing the conference in batting average. See them tonight versus UCF in that 7 o'clock game. This is up high. Count 2 balls and no strikes.
Offense is certainly East Carolina's calling card. They were the preseason pick to win the conference. Didn't quite have the pitching to match up this year with that stellar O. I'm excited to see what they bring to the table as Houston looking for a little bit more here with 2 outs.
And Hollis will try and add to that. Cougars up by 1. Wong at second with the RBI double. 2-0. Healthy swing to left. Will that stay in play? It will. And that one's caught by Colton Neal. And that will retire the side for Houston. But the Cougars get another run in the bottom of the second inning. The do-it-all man, Connor Wong, from the leadoff spot, driving home the run. And the Cougars lead 2-1.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
Some members of the Tiger Nation not liking what's going on so far. 2-1 Houston as we head into the top half of the third inning. Victor Anderson, Kara Wolvard, Haley Allen, the rest of our American Digital Network crew here with you at Spectrum Field in Clearwater, Florida on a gorgeous Tuesday morning as Carter Henry gets ready to take on the 8-9-1 portion of the Memphis order in the top of the third. And we alluded to it a little bit earlier, Gary, the importance of winning this opening game in a double elimination tournament, because if you win this morning, you're off until Wednesday when you take on the winner of UConn and Cincinnati.
Bring up a good point. Look at the success of Houston. They've made the title game the last 3 years because they get off on the right foot. They've won their opener the last 3 seasons.
And it's just no surprise, Houston with that appearance in the conference championship all 3 seasons. We ground ball. And that's going to be over to Hollis. 1 pitch, 1 down, as Jason said, as going down was Colton Neal. Now I'll turn the lineup over to Tyler Webb, who grounded out to third his first time up, taking on Carter Henry.
Wanted to say that was a good job by the first baseman, Lyle Lockhart. The first baseman kind of peeling off that ball, realizing that his second baseman, Hollis, had the better play, goes back to the bag, and they get the out.
That's outside. Call a strike count now 1-1. Memphis only 1 hit, that being a home run by Brandon Gruzelenik, who's on deck. Oh, and hops away from the catcher, Connor Wong. Cougars coming in with a number 24 RPI in the last regular season RPI that was released on Monday. It's a lot of talk if the Cougars possibly win the conference tournament, could find themselves contending to be a host site when regional play starts next weekend. Now Ole Miss is inside, and Webb will take the free pass to first. Memphis, for them, if their only ticket to the postseason is to win the American Conference Tournament. And we have seen teams in this portion of the tournament make runs like this before.
I won't say surprisingly, Memphis is the second winningest team here in this tournament the last 3 seasons. They're 7-5 overall since 2014. They're in the semifinals every year.
Now low. Want to know the Grizzlonic, they got eliminated by UConn last season. Had to knock off the Huskies twice to get to the championship, won that first game, but then lost the elimination game to the eventual tournament champions. Snap throw by Henry. And Gruzelenik with the lone run for Memphis so far on the first pitch, thrown by Carter Henry. Gave the Tigers a 1-0 lead, and Houston tied it up on a home run by Jake Shiner in the bottom of the first. Swings at a high fastball, count 0-2.
Looking to tie it up again. He's got a big body, just over 6 foot tall, 210 pounds, and you saw the power. He went oppo field with it to get them on the board to start the game.
And very a smooth swing by Gruzelenik. Doesn't try to do too much. Gets another high fastball. Calling for it was Connor Wong, and Brandon gets a piece and fouls it off to the right.
Spent his first couple of seasons at a junior college, McLennan Community College, and then came to Memphis. Now a senior out of Prosper, Texas.
And you know, with his pedigree, with his bloodlines, his Uncle Mark, a long-time big leaguer, playing for almost a decade. You know, he'll get a chance and swings at a heavy breaking ball by Carter Henry. He picks up his second strikeout in the last 4 batters.
What a job by Carter Henry here. Gives up a free pitch walk, comes back with the breaking ball to get the strikeout and put himself in good position to get out of the inning.
But he'll have to do so, and taking on the first team all-conference selection and Chris Carrier. Carrier bounced out to third after the Gru's Atlantic home run in the first. Top 5 in the conference in home runs and RBIs, hitting .318. As Henry will toss again over to first. And you look at Carrier, for a guy his size, good speed on him, does have 10 stolen bases. So if he does get on base and is asked to run, can get the job done. As Dumbo misses inside by Carter Henry. Count is even at the ball and strike.
Good eye there by Carrier to lay off the inside stuff. He's increased his walks every single season. He's jumped up his batting average as well, about 35 points from his junior year.
Correction.
And well off first.
Correction, count 1-0. That was the first pitch by Henry. Now that one's down low in the dirt to Wong. Count 2-0. Carrier, and you have to wonder, maybe if you're Henry, you're pitching a little carefully to Carrier with a runner on base, even though you have 2 outs, trying to protect that 1-run cushion. As you had Trent Turner on deck, Carrier asked for time.
Veteran move by the senior, takes a deep breath and steps back in, but really just kind of messes with the mojo of Carter Henry.
It's all about timing. Hitting is all about timing. Pitching is all about messing up the hitter's timing. 2-0 and a beautiful pitch thrown by Henry. Needed a strike and got one there on the outside half. Count 2 balls and a strike.
Carrier, a senior, wants to take a look at the first pitch to be called a strike and does. Nice job of Wong bringing that back up. Carrier's got 25 career home runs, 14 this season.
Henry from the stretch misses low, losing the glove right there. It's Connor Wong. Count 3-1.
Take a look by Carrier. He'll lay off this one a little bit low, and it took the glove right off the left hand of Wong.
Missed his target a little bit too low at the bottom of Wong's glove and knocked it out of his hand. Carrier gets a hold of one, but that'll be an easy play for Grimsley coming in from center field. He'll make the catch. Now over to side. So Henry with the one-on walk does no damage against him as he gets the first team all-conference selection. Carrier to fly out. Cougars still lead 2-1 as we head into the bottom of the third of the American Digital Network.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
Houston will look to add on to their 2-1 lead as we go into the bottom of the third. A co-conference player of the year, Jake Shiner, will lead things off for Houston. Had that solo bomb to left center in the bottom of the first to tie our game up at 1. Cougars have scored each of the first 2 innings off of Jonathan Bolin. Looking for his 5th straight quality start. Coming in with a 4-5 record, ERA 3.81, making his 10th start in his sophomore campaign. Well, kicks away from the catcher, Jason Santana. You see that home run by Jake Schneider, a beautiful swing. No doubt about that home run there, Gary.
One of those draft-eligible juniors you were talking about. He certainly announced his presence in year 1 in the American.
This one won't go as far or as deep. It's up in the glove of the left fielder, Colton Neal, 1 down. The bottom of 3rd.
Well, that's the start you're looking for if you're Memphis. Jonathan Bolin to get the inning started. He faced U of H earlier in the year, threw an inning and a third of relief, gave up 2 hits and a run, also had a strikeout, and factored in for the victory. Memphis won 10-8 in that game. Memphis has some nice singular victories this year. They beat number 11 Ole Miss. They beat Tennessee. They just don't have a lot of series victories.
First pitch gets inside to Corey Julks for a strike. You mentioned those victories that Memphis had. Knocked off Ole Miss in Oxford back on February 28, 9-6. This is down low, count 1-1. Actually took 2 games from Ole Miss. Won't beat them again on March 21st. As far as conference series wins, those have been lacking. Outside again.
They did a good job, just like last season, of taking a victory in each conference series.
But did not win a series this year. Jokes hits one to right center. That's going to find a gap. Let's go all the way towards the wall. There's Jokes will round second. He'll go to wave around, throw to third base. A nice tag applied, and he's out. A beautiful, beautiful relay and a nice tag applied over at third. And Zach Strittenall applies the tag, and Jokes tried to extend that to a triple, and he gets thrown out.
The play is made by Tyler Webb, and by the time he makes the catch on the run, Julks goes, I'm going to force him to make a throw. He makes the decision here, motors in towards third, and Tyler Webb gets this ball in just in time. Tag applied by Schreidenthal. Looks like he might have got his hand in there right as the glove came down.
And a beautiful relay by Alec Trilla to get that throw in time to Schreidenthal to get that tag out. So that's 8-6-5 for those of you who are scoring at home. 2 down for Joe Davis, the DH. Count now even 1-1.
I don't mind the decision to try and go for 3 there because you would have been on third with just 1 out. A sacrifice fly makes this a 3-1 game. A little aggressive, but I like it.
And the way the ball was hit by Jokes all the way to the gap in right center, with his speed, you figured that was going to be an easy triple. But give credit to the Memphis defense with that beautiful relay to retire Jokes for the 2nd out of the inning.
Has 6 triples on the season. I think you mentioned that.
And Davis will shoot one to left center for a 2-out single. And how big was that out recorded by Memphis? Because if Jokes is at third, that single brings him home and makes it 3-1 Houston. But instead, Davis is on at first with 2 out.
Houston's done a nice job of putting the bat on the ball against Bolin. They now have 6 hits in the ball game. Scored a pair of runs and have left 3 on.
Here's Cold Iron, swings at the first pitch in foul territory, and that will go out of range of Trent Turner. Had to do with that tarp along foul ground and right field.
And really not a lot of space here in foul territory in this ballpark. Once you get past the team's dugouts, you run out of real estate, and it'll find the chairbacks quickly.
And fortunately for these teams, they don't have to deal with that high sun. They have a lot of cloud cover here this morning. Something that the other three games that will be going on this field today and tonight will have to deal with. Heavy swing by Cold Iron, foul tip into the glove of Santana, 0-2.
Little fastball, elevated, swung through it. Again, Bolin's had no problems with the velocity in this game.
Pitch 62, low. Nice stop by Santana behind the plate.
The problem is Houston's been able to hit for extra bases. They've got a pair of doubles and the home run by Shiner.
And ironically enough, Bolin retired the leadoff hitter in all 3 innings this morning. Is getting that 1, 2, 3 inning has been his bugaboo. Good looking pitch on the outside half. Count even 2-2. Jason Santana wants to get clarification from Scott Graham on where that last pitch was. Says that one just missed a little bit away. 2-2 to Cold Iron. Gets rung up, and that will end the inning. Cold Iron looking miffed as a nice strikeout by Bolin, his second. Here comes Jokes trying to lead off the inning. Gets thrown out. Score still 2-1 after 3.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
Memphis trailing 2-1 as we go into the top of the 4th. We alluded to the schedule that the Tigers have played throughout this season. For more of that schedule, toss it down the field in Haley.
Memphis has played a grueling schedule in the month of April, just going 4-12. Of those 16 games, 4 were against top 50 RPI teams. They have played a total of 20 games against RPI top 50 teams this year, the 3rd most in the American. So while the results maybe haven't shown up in the win column, they've certainly been playing some of the toughest competition in the country to get them ready for this American Championship. Down 2-1, they'll look to get things rolling here in the 4th inning.
Thank you very much, Haley. In that schedule, at UConn, hosting Houston, a doubleheader, 2 games versus Arkansas, USF, and at UCF. That is a tough stretch there, Garrett. And the fact that they're able to steal games here and there tells you that's a testament to what this Memphis team can do.
There's certainly talent in their lineup across the outfield. You're looking for some guys to make a difference here in Clearwater. You'll start off with Trent Turner, who had 4 hits against the Cougars in the regular season series.
Turner, Trela, Trenthal, a Hardy order coming up, taking on Carter Henry. First pitch is inside, ball 1. Henry's only allowed the 1 hit, that home run to Gruzelanek back in the 1st. Walked 2, struck out a pair. Now low. Done so in only 45 pitches. So a very efficient outing for the freshman. His last start was against McNeese State. And what takes for a strike. That was back on May 16th. He only went 4 2/3 that afternoon. 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. 6 hits and 3 runs given up. Count now 3-1. And if you're Henry, you want to try and get through this 4th inning with minimal damage. And try and get your lineup back up. High pop up to left center. Could be trouble. And just trying to twirl and make that play was Cold Iron. And ending up at second base is Turner, and the Tigers with the tying run on board here in the top of the 4th.
I think with the wind, I think with the distance that both guys had to run to get to that ball, you've got to call it the second hit of the ball game. We could take a look at the replay here. Shortstop going back for it, and Cold Iron just can't come up with it.
Cold Iron
got his glove on it.
Yep, and he was going at a tough angle, trying to make that play over his shoulder and going towards his right. And was able to locate it in these gray clouds encompassing Spectrum Field. Trela comes up, flew out to center, lead off to second. Outside, ball 1. No action going on in the Cougar bullpen. beyond left field. Henry from the stretch, something that he hasn't pitched out of a lot this morning. Beautiful strike. Evens up the count at 1. Winner of today's game will take the rest of the day off. And we'll play on Wednesday at 3 o'clock, a game you can see here in the American Digital Network. Loser will have to turn around and play tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern in an elimination game. Another breaking ball thrown in by Carter Henry. Has the count in his favor, 1-2.
And you make a good point. If Houston can come away with a win here, they are so well set up with their pitching rotation to make a run in this tournament with guys like Trey Cumbie, John King. Both these guys combined are 15-2 on the season. Houston would really be able to pitch downhill.
And you can't forget their usual Friday starter, Mitch Ullum, as well in part of that rotation. And if Henry gets the strikeout of Trailer, 1 down in the 4th. That's a big strikeout there for Henry. As again, going on pitch up high, and Henry couldn't get in front of it. It was Trailer. Henry with his 3rd strikeout of the morning. Schredenthal comes up now. He also flew out to center in the 2nd. Henry looks over at first. Schredenthal, since the first pitch fouled, over the left. 4 games today. First 2 games will be carried here on the American Digital Network. Next game coming up at 12 noon or 35 minutes after this game comes to an end, whichever is the later time, between UConn and Cincinnati. One down low and inside.
You see Trent Turner, bottom of your screen, standing on second base. He got the first hit for Memphis since the 1st inning when Grudzalanek went yard. 2 hits in the ballgame for the Tigers, both for extra bases against the starter, Carter Henry.
And Henry, besides those 2 extra base hits, Garrett has been really solid on the mound for the Cougars this morning. And that's what you want out of your freshman. Gets the strike and count now 1-2.
Watch the breaking ball come in. Went from 90 to 84, and it kind of busts him inside on his belt. That's an easy ring up.
And that's tough as a hitter. You're so used to seeing 91, 92, and you see something breaking in at 80, 81. You don't have that time to adjust, and Connor Wong will jog on down and make sure he and Henry are on the same page.
Schreitenthal has 19 runs driven in on the year, and Turner has been one of the best run scorers for the Tigers on the season. He's 2 shy of 40. You know, Schreitenthal would love to tie this ball game up here in the 4th.
And the way Bolin has been able to work his way in and out of jams, if you can get him back on that rubber with this game tied up in the bottom of the 4th, they'll do a lot of confidence for that Memphis dugout. High chopper over to first. Could be a tough play, and just beating it out was Carter Henry. He moves Turner over to 3rd. So 2 outs for the Tigers. Turner 90 feet away at 3rd base.
What do they always say? Just as good as a sacrifice bunt. Left-hander pulls it to the right side, allows his runner to advance to 3rd. And Henry does a nice job fielding his position, gets over to first in time for the 2nd out.
And credit to Lyle Lockhart as well. Had to read that high bouncer and then make that throw in a position where Henry can come over to scoop it and then in a smooth, fluid motion get that foot on the bag to win that race to first. Outside to the designated hitter, Andy Bowman. Bowman walked his first time up.
Just one of 4 Tigers that have been on base today. 2 with extra base hits, 2 with walks.
First inning for Henry, trying to pitch with a runner in scoring position. This is down low and outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Henry's season high in innings pitch was back in his previous start, in his other start versus Rice back on May the 9th. Pitched 7 1/3. Gave up 8 hits and 5 runs to the Owls. Down low, ball 3. And if you're Houston, you know you need to get Henry at least past the 5th and try and get into that bullpen. Come away with this victory and get tomorrow off. It's inside. Count now 3-1. (2-1) Houston. Top of the 4th. Tying run at 3rd from Memphis. And Henry loses Andy Bowman. Third walk on the morning. You have Tigers at the corners, and even though you give up your second walk, your third walk of the game, all of them coming in the last 2 innings, not the worst thing in the world, Garrett, because you got to now get the force at second in any inning.
Almost an out at any base, but now you've got to deal with Jason Santana,
who Henry rung up to end the second inning with Bowman on at first after a walk. First pitch, swings it, fouls it and off inside of his foot. Trent Turner, the tying run at 3rd. Andy Bowman on at first after the walk. Santana 0 for 1, struck out looking. Breaking ball. Caught the outside at the end of the second inning for the Tigers. It's inside. Henry tried to bust in Santana. Couldn't catch that corner. Count even at 1-1. Henry trying to get out of this inning and keep this a 1-run Cougar advantage. And it's 1 strike away from doing so. Way in front of that pitch, breaking way outside. And Santana just maybe try and tap one and trying to send one the other way towards right. Instead finds himself down at 1-2. Bowman over at first. Henry not focused on him. Santana fouls out the 1-2 breaking pitch, and we'll do it all again. '65th pitch coming up for the freshman Carter Henry. Trying to preserve this 1-run Houston lead in the top of the 4th. Has a pick out Bowman at first. Bowman dives in safely underneath the tag. Houston will have their bottom of the order coming up. As you see that nice pickoff move by Henry and almost caught Bowman napping at first base to get the pick off the end of the inning. Now Bowman on higher alert over at first. And Santana gets rung up again to end the inning, just like he did to end the second. So Carter Henry with his first bit of trouble this morning, but pitches his way out of it. Down goes Santana, and the Tigers, Cougars will go to the plate. Back up 2-1 as he goes to the bottom of the 4th.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
Some Houston fans enjoying a little breakfast with their baseball on this now sunny Tuesday morning here at the home of the Philadelphia Phillies Class A affiliate at Spectrum Field as we go into the bottom of the 4th inning.
They've certainly found the best place in the ballpark to enjoy the game. I'll tell you what, Frenchie's out there in left field. It's an institution here in Clearwater. And that is certainly a place to take in the game and enjoy yourself here.
Absolutely. And that place always seems to be packed anytime either their Class A affiliate or Clearwater Threshers are playing or when the Phillies are here in spring training. Down low, ball 1 to Jared Triolo. Bottom third of the Cougar order coming up. Triolo, Lockhart, and Grimsley. 1 for 3 the first time seeing Jonathan Bolin. It's in for a strike. Count is even 1-1. Triolo bounced out to third. Trenthal back to lead off the 2nd inning. This is low. Count 2 balls and a strike. 2 runs, 6 hits, no errors for Houston. They left 4. Memphis 1 run, 2 hits, no errors. They've left 3. This is low. Just missed the corner. Count 3-1. Bolin's scattered 6 hits. He's given up a pair of hits in each of the first 3 innings. Fouled off. Count full 3-2. And hasn't really been able, Garrett, to get into a consistent flow or rhythm on the mound. But he has been able to work himself out of situations, especially in that 3rd inning, where he had a double, but the defense bailed him out, throwing out jokes, trying to stretch it to a triple, and ringing him up, and picks up the strikeout. That's his 3rd of the morning as Triolo goes down looking.
Going back to the last inning, that's 2 strikeout looking in a row. Let's take a closer look here. Outside part of the plate.
And he just missed on that. And he just missed on that pitch. On that 2-2 offering. On the 2-1 offering. Before Triolo fouled it out to set up that payoff pitch. Now Lockhart comes up. He takes the strike. Lockhart singled and came home to score in the Connor Wong double in the 2nd. It's inside, count 0-2. Lockhart in that 3-game series versus Memphis went 7 of 14. A pair of RBIs and 3 doubles. Took that series 2 out of 3. Going to try to catch the outside cap to ring up Lockhart, just missed to the freshman, count 1-2. Cougars looking to start their trek to their 4th straight American Championship game. Now misses away, count even 2-2. And Memphis, as Garrett alluded to earlier, 2nd most successful team in this conference tournament, going 7-5 each in the last 3 seasons.
They've also been bad for business because they've sent the homestanding USF Bulls home 3 years in a row as well. So a little bit bigger crowds when USF is in the tournament, in the ballpark over here. And Memphis has ended their season 14, 15, and 16.
3-2, and good battle, good job by Lockhart. Battling back down 0-2 and drawing the walk. And for Bowman, that's only his 2nd walk he's issued this morning. Majority of his base runners have come on extra base hits, giving up 6 hits so far, 6 hits to this morning. And now we'll take on the 9-hole hitter, John Grimsley, the center fielder. So he flew out to center back in the 2nd. Showing bunt, ball down low. Winner of today's game will be back, won't be back on the field until Wednesday afternoon at 3 o'clock Eastern, 2 Central. Loser will be in an elimination game tomorrow morning at 9. Beautiful bunt laid down. 1 play over to first base. And a nice job making that throw along third base was Trenthal. Had to get that ball along the line and put his first baseman Turner in a position to get that ball and avoid hitting Grimsley.
Grimsley, bottom of the order, sacks this ball to the left side. Schreitenthal makes this look a lot easier than it is. Nice transition from glove to hand and gets him by about 2 steps. The senior now has a runner standing on second base.
And to turn the lineup over for the 3rd time, and Connor Wong. Wong with that RBI double that gave the Tigers the lead in the bottom of the 2nd inning, driving home Lockhart, who was at second after he got a steal.
Wong, one of 2 players on this team with double-digit home runs. He has 11 on the season. Shiner is the other, who's gone deep in this game back in the 1st.
First pitch, swung on, fouled off. Santana couldn't get a hold of it. Wong, the first Cougar to record 10 home runs and at least 20 stolen bases since 2008, when Jake Stewart did the honors for the Cougars. This is down low and outside. One ball and 1 strike.
Wong had himself a day earlier in the year against Tulane. 3 home runs to tie the conference record and set a new mark with 15 total bases. He's about halfway to Marshall McDougal's NCAA record. But still quite a day.
Check swing. He does go around. No appeal needed to first. And Wong will take a little extra time before stepping back in the box. Count now 1 and 2. Wong not able to hold up his swing. Usually that telltale sign that front of home plate, that batters extends that barrel of the bat in front of home plate, is a easy call for the umpire to say that they did go around. Pitch number 81 for Bolin. 1-2 delivery, and he'll hold off on it. He'll look over at second base and Lockhart.
You had talked about Bolin trying to find a little rhythm, get a 1-2-3 inning. He was close. Now 80 pitches in the ball game for Bolin. He's a strike away of getting out of the inning.
And leaving the dangerous runner and Lockhart stranded at second base. He'll step off again.
You're still early enough in the game. I'm sure your arm still feels good. This is going to be the 81st pitch. You'd like to be able to rear back and just blow somebody away with a fastball, but top of the order in Wong, that's not the guy that you want to challenge with a fastball.
And then Hollis on deck, and if you get further than that, Scheider waiting alongside them, misses low, count even 2-2.
He can waste another pitch like that if he wants to, try and get Wong fishing for it. I don't know if Wong's going to see anything over 85 miles an hour for the rest of the at-bat.
And all the strikeouts recorded by Bolin have been on breaking balls. So Wong has to be careful of that on this 2-2 pitch coming up. Lockhart at second, 2 down. Bolin will look and deliver. And there it is inside, and Wong gets rung up. 3rd strikeout looking for Bolin, and he gets out of the inning again with no damage given up. So he retires a dangerous Connor Wong. Beautiful looking pitch. Bolin keeps the Tigers in it. He'll jog back to the dugout, hoping his team can pick him up, down by 1 at the 4 on the American Digital Network.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
At the home of the Philadelphia Phillies Class A affiliate, Spectrum Field, on the immaculate Tuesday morning in Clearwater, Florida. 2017 American Athletic Conference Baseball Championship, game number 1 Victor Anderson, Garrett Woodward, and Haley Allen, the rest of our American Digital Network crew. Glad that you're with us. First of 4 games today, Mother Nature forcing a slight reschedule of the tournament. And I say slight in the very nicest way possible. 9-1-2 coming up for the Tigers. Neal, Webb, Gruzelanek taking on Carter Henry. He's only given up 2 hits. This is low and out, misses outside, ball 1 to the 9-hole hitter, Neal.
You know, if you're a fan of one of the 8 teams in the tournament, you're trying to get a little further through your work week, not a bad idea. Wednesday weather, probably going to be pretty bad up until Thursday morning. And then after that, a beautiful Memorial Day weekend set up from Thursday afternoon all the way through Monday. Great opportunity to jump on a flight, cruise into Tampa International, and come cheer on your squad. It's a beautiful ballpark at Spectrum Field as Henry misses that one low right at the knees. Count 3-0 to Neal. Of course, it's the home of the Philadelphia Phillies spring training when they have spring training. Henry gets a strike count 3-1, and also the home of their Class A affiliate, Clearwater Threshers, who have been at the top of the Florida State League during the first half of their season. 3-1 ground ball, routine play by Lyle Lockhart, 1 down in the 5th. We take a look at Lockhart. He'll take this 3 unassisted on 2 hops. You know, Henry's over there if he needs to make the play, but nice little pickup by Lockhart and get the out.
Had a couple of high choppers hit his way. Had that one back in the 4th. I mean, under he tossed it over to Henry to get the out with Trenthal at the plate. So top of the order, first pitch strike to Tyler Webb. Webb 0 for 1. Grounded out to 3rd and walked his last plate appearance. That was back in the 3rd. You're starting to see Henry establishing more of that off-speed pitch this 2nd and 3rd time through the Tiger lineup, and quickly ahead of Webb 0-2. Henry working with good pace, misses low, hops in front of the catcher Connor Wong. The Tiger team trying to make it to the semifinals for the 2nd straight season. Were eliminated by the UConn Huskies last year. As he taps on foul along 3rd towards Jake Shiner. Haven't said his name much in the infield today. Did have that solo bomb to left center in the bottom of the 1st to tie things up at 1. A Memphis program trying to run the gamut and get that automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. That one's low, count even 2-2. Look at Coach Darren Schoenrock. He's led the Tigers to the NCAA tournament 1 time during his tenure back in 2007. Check swing, they'll appeal to 1st. No swing, says Grady Smith. Count is full 3-2.
Always seems to have a lot of success in conference tournaments, whether it's Conference USA, the precursor to that, here in the American. We just like to see him get the win the first game.
As a ground ball, talk about what is it mentioning his name? A nice stretch by Lockhart.
Wow.
To stay on the bag and retire Tyler Webb for out number 2. Though was a little wide by Shiner, but Lockhart bails him out for the 2nd out of the inning.
All right, that is a hot shot to Shiner. Had to make a quick throw with the runner at the plate. Let's take a look here as this one goes down the 3rd base line in a hurry. Picks it up. And the fire over to 1st. We'll take a stretch by Lockhart. We'll see just how close it is. Makes the catch behind the runner. Unbelievable.
And again, Lockhart having to not only having to stretch, but kind of doing it off the outside of the bag to get the speedy Webb on a bang play for out number 2. So up comes Gruzelanek, has the lone Memphis run, the home run back in the 1st. Swung on a high fastball, will send that one in the stands.
88 miles an hour by Henry. He was on it.
Gruzelanek struck out back in the third, his last time he saw Henry. Pitch number 80. Down low. 2 balls and a strike. The success for Houston this year has been get the lead to the 7th. This is down low, 3-1. The Tigers this year, Houston this year, 31-1 when they've carried a lead past the 7th inning. And that's the strength of that Houston bullpen you see in left field. Part of that pitching staff for Houston as second in the American Conference in the earned run average behind UCF.
Gruzelanek has liked Houston pitching so far this year. 6 of 15 with a homer, 4 RBIs. Going back to the regular season series.
Sends that one foul past Shiner at third. Count full, 3-2.
Such a huge strikeout to end the last inning by Bolin. You'd really like to see Memphis's offense come together here and just give them a little bit of a break, but also get some runners on base, put some pressure on Houston here. Looks like they're in danger of going down 1-2-3 to the powerful Carter Henry.
And if Henry can do so, that will set up the 2, 3, 4 hitters for the Cougars in their half of the fifth. Instead, he loses Gruzelanek on the walk on a pitch down low. Still have yet to had a 1-2-3 inning as Henry gives his 4th walk of the morning. And now Chris Carrier will come to the plate. And the importance of walking Gruzelanek, because now you have to deal with Carrier with a run on first. If you get Gruzelanek out of the inning, you maybe can come back onto the mound with a bigger lead and deal with Carrier with a clean frame and nobody on. Carrier 0 for 2. Grounded out to third and flew out to center. John Grimsley. First pitch swinging down the left field line. That one will clear over the fence on a line drive. And the Memphis Tigers take the lead as Chris Carrier will touch them all for the 15th time this season. Showing you why he was a first-team All-American Athletic Conference selection. A screaming line drive over the fence and left down the 329 side. And the Tigers take the lead back 3-2.
26th career home run for Chris Carrier. He gives Memphis their 2nd lead of the game. That one was inside right below the belt, and he hit a line drive into the bar stools in Frenchies. Boy, he's had quite a few home runs in his 4-year career here at the American.
Big home run for Carrier to give the Tigers the lead. It's inside for a strike to Trent Turner. Like a breaking ball for Henry that didn't break as hard as he thought it would. And you have a guy like the strength of Carrier. Sends one a screamer down right over the fence and left. And Turner will send one to center right to John Grimsley. He makes the catch. That ends the inning. But Chris Carrier ties it up, gives the Tigers the lead on his 2-run shot. 3-2 Memphis going to the bottom of the 5th.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
The spring training home of the Philadelphia Phillies is where the 2017 American Baseball Champion will be decided over the next 6 days. Houston, who's been in that championship game each of the first 3 years, trailing 3-2 as we head into the bottom of the 5th. First pitch outside, ball 1 to Connor Hollis. Houston will have the part of the order that can change the game on one swing. Hollis, Schneider, and Jolks. Chris Carrier with a 2-run shot on the line drive to left, giving the Tigers the lead as we go into the bottom of the 5th. Victor Anderson alongside Garrett Woolvard and Lee Allen, the rest of our American Digital Network team. Glad that you're spending your Tuesday morning with us. Opening game of this 2017 tournament as Bolin gets a strike. Count now 2-1. The winner of our opening game will play Thursday afternoon at 3 p.m. They'll take on the winner of our next game, UConn and Cincinnati. That'll be a 12 noon first pitch, approximately, or 30 minutes after this game ends, whichever is the later time. Hollis flies out to center, and Tyler Webb one down in the Houston half of the 5th. And really, that bottom of the 4th inning for Jonathan Bolling was so huge, Gary, because he gets out of the inning. And then you have Carter with the 2-run home run to give him the lead, and now he goes back on the rubber, gets out Hollis, and he has all the momentum going his way. He has to deal with Jake Schneider one more time, and throws the first pitch strike to the co-player of the year, the American.
Well, this is where you really want to follow what your pitching coach says. Make sure you hit your spots. Dangerous batter.
Breaking ball, it'll peel the first. Grady Smith says he does not go around. Count even 1-1.
Take a look from the first base angle. It looks like he may have held up.
And umpires usually have different ways of determining if a batter goes around. Sometimes they use the breaking of the wrist. Sometimes they use the barrel of the bat if it breaks in front of home plate. So different ways to tell if a batter goes around on a check swing. Shiner ahead 2-1. Breaking ball, beautifully thrown by Bolin. Count even 2-2. Pitch number 90 by Bolin, and that breaking ball looking just as sharp as it did back in the early part of our contest this morning. Breaking ball misses down low. They'll peel again. And again, Mr. Smith says Shiner did not swing.
Nice patience at the plate there by Shiner, not being too overly aggressive. Third on the team in walks. He has 25 on the year.
Again, keeping those wrists in line, and that barrel of the bat about halfway between his shoulders and the front of home plate. Payout pitch by Bolin. Another breaking ball will send that one foul along third. As Bolin goes up on 90, getting ready to throw pitch number 93.
Warming up in the pen over the left field wall for Memphis is left-hander Drew Crosby. He's a junior. I don't know if it's time to give up on Bolin or not. That's probably just preventative measure. He's looked pretty good so far.
3-2, and Shiner rung up on strikes. And tell you what, Bolin has done a great job of hitting his outside corner. Fourth time he's gotten a strikeout looking, and just getting it right on that outside half of home plate.
You know, Shiner, for having those big power numbers, doesn't strike out a lot. Over 200 at-bats. He's only struck out about 30 times, but that was a pretty pitch by Bolin.
Strikeout number 5 for Bolin, 2 down. And a first pitch strike to Corey Jolks. Jolks had a 1-out double, tried to stretch it to a triple, got thrown out in a nice relay by the shortstop, Alec Trella, and a beautiful tag by Zach Schredenthal. Tag out Jolks on a bang-bang play at third. 1-1 down low. One hops in front of the glove of the catcher, Jason Santana.
There's Crosby, who we mentioned earlier, a left-hander, and it looks like Houston has double barrel action as well, a righty and a lefty.
Cale Hannerman warming up, and we also see Blake Bennett, redshirt sophomore.
We mentioned in the open, Bolin has gone 7 innings or longer in his last 4 starts, and the competitor that he is, I'm sure he's got plenty of gas left.
Line drive right over to Trendall, and Bolin with the first 1-2-3 inning of the ball game. Continues the momentum for the Tigers. We're through 5 in Clearwater. Memphis leading 3-2 is heading to the top of the 6th after this.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
Cougar fans not liking the results so far. Memphis up 3-2 as we go into the top of the 6th. And we'll have a new pitcher coming on for Carter Henry. Henry pitching 5 innings, giving up 3 hits, 2 of them being home runs. And it's going to be the freshman lefty, Grayson Hertzman, coming on for the Cougars.
Hertzman making just his 5th appearance of the season. No starts, all in relief. He has an ERA of 6 and no record. In 3 innings pitched, he's given up 2 hits, 2 runs. Both were earned and struck out 2. Opponents are hitting .200 against him. So Hertzman with good size coming in and throwing from the left-hand side. But after 5 innings pitched by Carter Henry, Memphis finds themselves ahead after 3 runs, 3 hits. 2 of them were home runs.
Final numbers for Carter Henry: 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, all 3 runs, but all of them coming on to home runs. Walked 3, ended up striking out 5. And if Memphis holds on, Henry will be tagged with the loss. And Memphis will advance to the winner's side of the bracket Thursday afternoon. And reminding you fans, our next broadcast of the 2017 American Athletic Conference Baseball Championship will be at 12 noon Eastern, 11 Central, or 30 minutes after the conclusion, or an hour after this game ends, whichever is the later time, between UConn and Cincinnati. And then CBS Sports Network will have the final 2 games of the day, Tulane and USF at 3:30 Eastern, and then the number 1 seed, the UCF Knights, and Coach of the Year, Craig Lovely, taking on the 8 seed, the Pirates of East Carolina. So some good baseball still coming up. And it'll be intriguing to see how these matchups line up, and especially with the games being moved up to today because of Mother Nature coming in the area supposedly tomorrow afternoon. See, and she's over in left field. And hey, if I want to go to Frenchie's, what would you suggest a native like myself get?
I've been out here for some league games, seen the Threshers, also seen the Phillies in AAA action. You know, there's all kinds of a multitude of drinks and adult beverages that you can have out there. It's also a nice opportunity to grab something cold to drink and then go head out to the berm. You know, bring a blanket. They got some great places to sit out here. Just a beautiful ballpark to take in the pastime.
Of course, the home of the Philadelphia Phillies. And spring training, one of the beautiful facilities in all of spring training in the Grapefruit League. And of course, as Gary mentioned, the home of the Class A Clearwater Threshers. First pitch swinging by Alec Trella. That will go foul just beyond the Memphis dugout. 5, 6, 7 hitters coming up for the Tigers in their half of the 6th. Memphis as the lower seeded team, the designated visitors for this morning's game. So Houston will have the last at bat if it should come down to that point. Now low inside. 1-1.
You could say that Memphis chased Carter Henry out of the ballgame, but in his last 9 batters faced, the only hit he gave up was the home run to Carrier.
And that's a shot that's going to go sinking line drive, and diving in, sliding belly first and making a beautiful play is Corey Jokes, one down in the 6th. Showing you that tremendous athleticism in left center. That ball would have, if that ball falls short, that one's at least a double.
Jokes leads the conference in triples, shows off the speed here, lays out and makes the catch just on top of the carpet.
A tremendous athleticism by the Cougar junior left fielder being showcased on that sensational catch in the gap. First pitch strike to Schroedenthal. He is 0 for 2. Flew out to center and bounced out back to Henry. Tigers 3 hits today. 2 of them being home runs. A solo shot by Gruzelanek in the first to give them a 1-0 lead. And right now the decisive blow, a 2-run home run with 2 outs by Chris Carrier in the top of the 5th. Ground ball right at outfield, infield grass. Those going to pull off Lockhart from the first base bag. It's a tough play over at second base by Connor Hollis. See the replay, Garrett. A tough play by Hollis, having to backhand that one.
Got to go behind the bag and across his body. Schreitenthal at the bag as the ball comes in. Wouldn't be surprised if they called that the 5th hit of the game for Memphis.
Still waiting for an official ruling as a designated hitter, Andy Bolin, will step to the plate. It's up high, 1-0. And right now, you're Memphis. You just want to try and add on to this lead and try and knock around the freshman Brayson Hertzman coming in relief of Carter Henry. Inside. Cougars talking along third. They appeal along the third base side. Mark Ewell says he did not go around on the swing. Count 2-0 to Bowman.
Bowman hitting .257 on the year. He's .239 for his career. This season against Houston in the 3-game series, 2 hits in 8 at-bats. Now he's got a runner on first and only 1 out.
A little blooper, it'll be trouble. That will fall in front of the center fielder, Grimsley. So the Tigers, who came into this inning with only 3 hits, back-to-back singles, 2 on and 1 out. Nice piece of hitting by Andy Bowman.
Pitch is a little bit elevated, and you see the pitcher, Hertzman, thinks that's an out. Instead, it just kind of dies in shallow center field, and like Victor said, back-to-back singles.
So now you have Jason Santana, the catcher, coming up to the plate. 0 for 2. Struck out looking twice to end the inning. One in the second and the other in the fourth. Infield playing back for Houston, except at the corners. First pitch outside. Nice stab by Wong.
If you're expecting to see Houston, the conference champion, kind of run away with this game, don't be surprised. This was a close series during the regular season. Houston won the first game handily, but then Memphis wrapped out a 10-8 victory. And then in the rubber match, it was a 1-run game. A lot of offense, 9-8, and Houston came away with the series victory.
In our first game, Houston won. Trey Cumbie, the co-pitcher of the year, was on the rubber for the Cougars that day. Santana takes a strike. Count is even 1-1. Memphis, again, that's success. They've had success against this Houston pitching staff, even though they lost that series 2 of 3. At Memphis back on April 13th through 15th, Easter weekend. 1-1 to Santana. Runners at first and second. Sees that one go outside. Count 2-1.
Another right-hander warming up for Houston. I like what Herdsman's done since he came in. He's pitched in the high 80s, thrown strikes. He's given up a couple of shots, though, that have found some real estate. Now he's got 2 on against him.
Nolan Bond, the arm warming up for the Cougars in the bullpen and left. Swings at a high fastball. Out tipping the glove. Count even 2-2. Of course, follow all the action on Twitter at American_BSB as you see that 2-1 offering by the freshman Herdsman.
Really reared back and blew it by him there. Let's see what the left-hander does against Santana. Trying to set him down.
2-2, 2 on, 1 down, top 6. Memphis trying to add to their one-run lead. Runners move, swung through, missed for the strikeout, and they're going to run themselves out of the inning, and that will complete it. So a strike him out, throw him out double play as they try to get moment in motion. A beautiful throw by Connor Wong. Strike out, and then the tag applied for the double play. Houston back up as we come back.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
Back at Clearwater, Florida, Victor Anderson, Grand Boulevard with you. Houston gets themselves out of the inning. Memphis, a little bit of a gamble here with the hit and run call with 1 out, Garrett.
I like the play by Connor Wong. He could have gone shorter distance to third for the throw out. Instead, he knows his runner, Andy Bowman, a little bit slower and gets him out by 10 feet, and it's a strikeout, throw him out to end the inning. Huge play for the Cougars.
And give credit to Cooper Coldiron, who was covering at second, applied the tag to Bowman, who was trying to get the steal, and now Houston with momentum back on their side. Joe Davis swinging at the first pitch, high pop-up, and a come and go right in front of the circle, and making a catch is Trent Turner. 1 pitch, 1 down, as Davis got a little bit aggressive, ends up popping up to Turner on a sky ball in front of the pitching rubber. And give credit to Jonathan Bolin, has really calmed himself down. The second and third time through this Houston order has really found that rhythm that he was looking for through the first 3 innings. Coldiron takes the first pitch, low and outside, ball 1.
Bolin, against the last 9 batters, has struck out 4, given up no hits.
Ground ball goes through the left side. And just as my colleague Garrett mentions it, Coldiron shoots a single through the left side on Bolin's 100th pitch. First hit for the Cougars since the Joe Davis 2-out single in the 3rd. And those 4 strikeouts that we alluded to, all of them were called 3rd strikes. Now Jared Triolo steps to the plate. He's 0 for 2. There goes the runner. Throw by Santana is low. Skips away from the second base. Six away for the second baseman, Gruzelanek. Nice job running by Coldiron. And that'll be his second stolen base of the season.
You know, Cold Iron's kind of a late addition to the starting lineup. This is just the 8th game that he's played in, but he's showing his versatility and his value to the Cougars by picking up the stolen base there and getting into scoring position with only 1 out.
Triolo takes the strikeout 0-2. We alluded to Cold Iron. Just joining the team was part of the recruiting class that came into Houston as a junior transfer. Had some eligibility issues, wasn't able to play until the Tulane series in the middle of April. Outside and call strike 3. Triolo goes down looking, gives a stare to Scott Graham over at the home plate, but he's been consistent calling that outside half of the plate.
Interested to see where this ball ended up. Little bit off the dish, and at the same time, Triolo needs to take his strikeout and walk back to the dugout.
Strikeout number 6 for Bolin. The last 5 have been called third strikes. Lyle Lockhart will come to the plate with 2 on and a tying run at second. First pitch to the freshman first baseman is for a strike.
I know a lot of pitching coaches out there, they'll call the pitches for their team, and then when they get a looking strikeout like that, they'll just say, thank you, you're welcome.
Yes.
You're very welcome.
And credit to Jason Santana for getting that mitt right on that outside half of the plate as Bowman will chase back Cold Iron to second. And as a catcher, you always are taught, try and steal strikes any way you can. If you get a pitch that's a little low in the zone, pitch a little outside or inside, get your glove in a good position where you can get that call strike from the umpire, and you'll get strikeouts just like that. 1-0 misses low, and a nice stop by Santana behind the plate. And you got to figure, as Bolin now at 105 pitches through 5 2/3. This probably is going to be his last inning regardless. As Drew Crosby continues to warm up in the Memphis bullpen. Crosby was a starter converted to the bullpen, part of last year's starting staff for the Tigers. 2-0, and there's that sharp breaking ball by Bolin, which has been his money pitch throughout this morning.
And you said it, still very sharp. You know, I'd be interested to see how far this competitor wants to go in this ball game. Just a sophomore, but certainly pitching well against the league champs.
Pitch number 107 for Bolin, 2-1. That was a shot to left, could be trouble, but into the glove of Colton Neal, and once again, Jonathan Bolin strands a runner in scoring position. Bolin's got it in trouble and works himself out of it. Tigers still lead 3-2 after 6.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
The place where one of the most iconic restaurants got its birth here in Clearwater, Hooters. As we welcome you back to Spectrum Field, Victor Anderson here at Boulevard, the rest of our American Digital Network crew. Haley Allen on the field. She'll have the word with our winning coach and our player of the game after the conclusion of this morning's contest.
The original Hooters actually right down the road from this ballpark on US 60 Gulf to Bay. It's the only two-story Hooters I've ever seen.
Yes. Yes, and so when you're driving by, you're looking like, wait a minute, 2 stories? It's a very And so if anytime you've been inside of is a very, one of the true iconic structures here in Clearwater. As Brayson Herdsman will take on a pinch hitter, Carlos Williams, hitting in Neal's spot of the order. So Williams the junior coming on to pinch hit for Neal. Leading off the Tigers half of the seventh. This is outside. Count 1-1. Williams this year hitting .216, a home run and 13 driven in. Takes a healthy swing from the lefty freshman. Count 1-2.
Pinch hitting today, but he has started 26 games and appeared in 42. The left-hander blows it right by his bat there.
That's a 1-2 fastball. Should be a routine play in center for Grimsley. Makes the play, one down.
Well, not a lot of production from that 9-hole today for Coach Schoenrock. Colton Neal 0 for 2, and now Williams an easy fly ball to center.
As a matter of fact, the 8 through 9 hitters, Santana, Neal, and Williams combined 0 for 6 with that flyout. So back to the top of the order, and Tyler Webb 0 for 2 with a walk and a pair of groundouts to third. Outside, ball 1. The Memphis team 29-27 on the year. Went 8-16 in the conference. Actually increased their win total by 10 wins from last year's team. Webb to deep center. Again, Grimsley on the warning track this time will make the catch for out number 2. Grimsley very busy morning for him in the outfield.
Really made that play look a lot easier than it was. I mean, he had 25, 30 yards to run on his horse. The wind just kept bringing that ball back. And he'll get a glove on it right as he steps on the warning track. That is a long, loud out for number 2.
Wind was blowing out towards right center during the last inning and a half. Atlantic first pitch outside. Reached base twice. Walked and scored on the right now deciding 2-run home run by Chris Carrier in the 5th. Had a solo shot of his own in the 1st on the first pitch he saw from Carter Henry. Swings at a high fastball, 1-1.
90 miles an hour on the gun here. I like what Herdsman's done so far. This is just his 5th appearance in American play, his 16th overall on the season. He's 3-2 with an ERA about 3.77. Went upstairs, and Grzelcyk chases him.
He's given up 2 hits so far in an inning and 2/3. It's another fastball by Grzelcyk. Again, 90 miles per hour. Count now 1-2. And Herdsman, part of that dynamic Houston bullpen, which has been so successful in the Cougars' run to the regular season championship they shared with UCF. You see the defending tournament champion UConn Huskies getting ready to take on Cincinnati. First pitch set for 12:45 between the Bearcats and the Huskies. Some members of the Bearcats walking behind UConn.
Coach Jim Pender's club was tied for first place going into the final weekend. They weren't able to come away with the conference championship. Still finished as high as 3rd in the league. That's the 2nd year in a row they've been top 3 in the American.
Served them well last year as they won the tournament title. And inside and brings up Grzelcyk, and that will end the inning. Brayson Herdsman doing a tremendous job in relief. Time to stretch in Clearwater. Cougars down by 1 on the American Digital Network.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
Right now, Houston trying to battle their way back. Down 3-2 as we go into the bottom of the 7th inning. Drew Crosby, the new pitcher for the Memphis Tigers, coming in relief for Jonathan Bolin, who pitched a strong 6 innings. Gave up seven hits. Only gave up those 2 runs in one of them each in the first 2 innings. But after that, kept this Houston lineup in check. And now Crosby will come in, the junior lefty, try and shut down this Houston half of the order. It'll be Grimsley, Wong, and Hollis coming up to hit for the Cougars in the bottom of the 7th inning. Crosby on the year, making his 2nd relief appearance, 16th overall. He's 6-3 with a 5.17 ERA. 78 in the 3rd innings of work. Struck out 64, walked 28. Opponents batting .289 against the lefty. Giving up 90 hits, 54 runs, 45 earned in those 78 in the 3rd innings of work. So Grimsley set to lead off the Cougar half of the 7th at Spectrum Field at Clearwater, Florida, home of the Philadelphia Phillies and their Class A affiliate, the Clearwater Threshers. Victor Anderson, Gary Woolvard, Haley Allen, the rest of our American Digital Network team. Glad that you're with us on this Tuesday morning. Opening game of the 2017 American Athletic Conference Baseball Championship. Crosby deals the first pitch strike to Grimsley. He's 0 for 1. Flew out to center, had a sacrifice bunt in the 5th. It's inside, 1-1. And Garrett alluded to it in the last half inning with UConn, who will be taking on Cincinnati in our next game. That'll be a 12:45 first pitch. UConn with a chance to win the conference championship during the final weekend of the regular season. Big breaking ball thrown by Crosby. Grimsley in front of him, 1-2. 4 different teams had a chance to win a share of the title as Crosby with that nice slider on the outside half. Grimsley in front of him, 1-2. Houston and UCF won a share of the conference title, but Houston, the 2 seed, by virtue of losing their head-to-head matchup with UCF, and Grimsley rung up on strikes. So Crosby comes in, gets Grimsley looking for out number 1 in the 7th.
That's always a good look, coming out of the pen and striking out your first opponent. This one looks to finish a little bit outside and low, but the home plate umpire, Scott Graham, rings it up, and there's the first K for Crosby.
And now he'll have to deal with the dangerous Connor Wong and Connor Hollis as we reset the Houston lineup. Wong, first pitch swung through on down low. Wong with the RBI double that gave Houston a 2-1 lead in the 2nd. He's 1 for 3. Also grounded out to short and struck out looking to end the 4th. Nice breaking ball again by Crosby on the outside. Count 0-2. Cougars out hitting the Tigers 7-5, but have only had 1 hit in the last 3 1/3 innings. Jonathan Bolin pitching 6 strong innings, giving up 7 hits, 2 runs. Struck out 6. Now low, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And really the key with Bolin and his success, Garrett, only walked 2 batters, so didn't give up any free passes. Made Houston earn those base hits. Crosby lets that one sail away from the catcher Santana. Houston with 6 of their 7 hits in each of the first 3 innings. Got 2 hits each in the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd. As alluded to a few seconds ago, only 1 hit in the last 3 1/3. That coming on a 1-out single by Coldiron in the 6th. Crosby with the 2-2. Jams Wong will send out one foul on third base side. And so pivotal, as we mentioned it time and time again during the broadcast, you win today, you don't play again until Thursday afternoon at 3. If you lose, you turn right back around and have an elimination game tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central Time. Long high fly ball left center. Eel being called off by Webb, who'll make the play, 2 down. Now you have Connor Hollis coming to the plate. And you know if you're Crosby, you get Hollis to get the Cougars down into 7. You'll have to deal with that heart of the order in the 8th if you stay on the rubber. Have to retire Hollis first to get to that point. Hollis 0 for 3, all 3 outs in the outfield, 2 to center and 1 to left.
Unbelievably, Houston with just 1 hit in their last 14 batters. Memphis has done a great job of handcuffing them. They're 1 out away from getting out of the inning.
And 2 base runners total during those last 14 batters. A single by Kodai and a walk by Lockhart back in the 4th. 1-0, little roller over to Turner at short, the trailer at short. Low throw, nice job by Turner to scoop it up. And Crosby comes in. 1-2-3 inning. Tigers maintain a 3-2 lead as we're through 7 in Clearwater.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
Back at Spectrum Field in Clearwater, Florida, we go into the top of the 8th inning. And the heroes so far from Memphis, Chris Carrier will lead off the inning for the Tigers. He has the go-ahead 2-run home run in the top of the 5th to give the Tigers the 3-2 lead that they currently possess. And right now, Garrett, Grayson Hertzman has done everything he can to keep this Houston Cougar team in it, but the pitching of Bolin and now Crosby out of the bullpen has kept the Tigers in front by 1.
I like what Hertzman's done so far, and he's gone into long relief a couple of times this season. 4+ innings against Illinois. He's gone deep in some starts as well, so this is a young man who, if he continues to have success, you can let the lefty stay out there and maybe close this thing out.
And if you think about what Hertzman's done, you alluded to it, 4 1/3 innings versus Illinois back on February 25th. Walked 3, struck out 4, gave up an unearned run on a pair of hits. Longest appearance for Hertzman since back on May the 7th versus UConn. Pitched the inning, got a strikeout.
Got to be careful here, though. You're going up against a pretty big guy in Chris Carrier.
First pitch inside the Carrier, just for a strike. Carrier with that 2-run home run that just cleared the left field fence on a line drive shot in the 5th to give Memphis their 3-2 lead. And so sent one up the middle, and Carrier will lead off the top of the 8th with a single. So Carrier with hits in back-to-back at-bats.
Gets the barrel of the bat out there and just meets it, sends it past the pitcher into center field. Carrier's been so successful in this tournament the last 2 seasons. He actually sat out 2015, but he's had a lot of success here. Had a huge home run just 3 games ago in this tournament against Connecticut. Helped them win a do-or-die ball game and sent them into the semifinals.
Now they'll set up Trent Turner, the first baseman. 1 for 3, a double. Struck out and flew out to center. Turner takes on the left-handed freshman Hertzman. Now before he will go back over to Carrier at first. I mentioned it previously, Carrier can run if he needs to. 10 for 13 in the stolen base department is Carrier. Herdsman going from the stretch. Bunt popped up by Turner, but thankfully foul for Memphis. And if you're Memphis right now, Gary, you want to add on some insurance runs because Houston's going to have the heart of their order coming up in the 8th, and Schneider, Jokes, and Davis. So if you want to try and get an extra run or two for Crosby, knowing you have that part of the order to deal with in the home half of the 8th for Houston. Carrier with a low average lead will easily drop back to first on a throwback by Herdsman. Conclusion of our game. Haley Allen will be on the field talking with the winning coach and our player of the game. And the winner will have tomorrow off. We'll be back in action Thursday afternoon at 3 p.m. versus the winner of UConn and Cincinnati. And the loser will have to turn around and have to play an elimination game tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Central Time versus the loser of UConn Cincinnati. So, and it's tough for these. It was tough for these teams as it is, having to be up at 8, be up about 5:30, 6 o'clock Central Time. You're usually sleeping around that time frame, and not having to worry about getting ready for a baseball game.
Better hope there's a good continental breakfast.
Yeah,
you know,
especially in the
fill your belly up.
That's right.
Carrier, the team leader with 10 stolen bases on the year. Turner earlier squared to bunt. Now I think he's trying to go opposite field, maybe take advantage of the big hole over on the first base side.
Herdsman looks over to Carrier, delivers the 0-2 to Turner, high and outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Carrier can really run, former football player in his high school prep days. And obviously that's weighing heavily on the mind of Brayson Herdsman.
And very athletic for a man his size. With that speed and being a former football player, you need to have that athleticism, and it transitions over to the baseball diamond. Herdsman again with a bit of a courtesy throw. So I want to let Carrier know he's keeping his eye on him. Wind starting to pick up, blowing out towards left. It hasn't caused much of a problem, if you will. Turner sends the 1-2 to left. Could be trouble. That will fall in. And now Memphis with the first 2 runners on in the top of the 8th. I didn't think Turner got enough of that one, Garrett, but eventually he did.
The sun had just gone behind the clouds. I don't know if out in center field Grimsley lost track of the ball, but he went back on that one originally, and that'll fall in. And now Memphis is cooking with something here.
And now you have Alec Trella at the plate with 2 on and no out. So plenty of options for Coach Schoenrock at his disposal.
This is where Memphis really needs to make some hay here. You've got your best RBI hitters. 2 are on base. Here's another at the plate. Try and put some pressure on Houston.
You see Trella squaring up the bunt. This is high and outside, ball 1. Only has 1 sacrifice bunt on the season. Something that he's not accustomed to. But in a situation like this, up by 1, knowing that you have that dangerous part of the Houston order coming to the plate in the bottom of the 8th, want to try and set yourself up in a position where a base hit can score 2 if possible. And squaring up the bunt again. Pops it up. Now we'll go right in front of the dugout fence for Memphis. Count even 1-1.
86 miles an hour on the pitch by Herdsman. Over on the third base side, assistant coach Clay Green, now in his 6th season, sending signals to Carrier and Trent Turner, trying to move his guys both into scoring position and maybe sacrifice an out.
Quarter infield for Houston playing in Lockhart and Shiner. Playing along the grass. 1-1. Again, Trailer lays down the bunt, but bunts it foul towards the on-deck circle, where Schrenthal waits. Count now 1-2, and the bunt will be off.
Takes a look down the third base side, picks up signals. And if you look where he's standing, now he'll back it up. He was literally in the front of the box trying to get a bunt down. Now I think they're going to let him swing.
He's 0 for 3 today. 2 flyouts and a strikeout. He's robbed of a hit on that last at bat. Diving play by Jokes into 6. In front of that one, into the glove, and Trailer goes down on strikes. So a huge out for Herdsman to get that first out in the 8th.
Really fooled him with the breaking pitch here. Was not expecting that. It's low. Got a whiff at it. Can't be rung up on strikes despite that being a little outside. And they can't produce the runners to move them forward.
Now Schrenthal comes up. He's 1 for 3. Singled his last time up in the 6th. Still first and second, but 1 out for Memphis. Herdsman trying to work his way out of this first and second jam after a pair of leadoff singles. So step off and we'll look over Carrier at second. Herdsman coming on in relief of Carter Henry, who pitched 5 innings. Gave up only 3 hits, but 2 of those hits home runs, including the go-ahead home run to Carrier in the 5th. Walked 3, struck out 5. Misses inside near the arms. 1 ball, no strikes. You know, if you're Memphis, you would love to try and get at least 1 run home and not waste this golden opportunity that's been presented in front of you. And the winner will advance to the winner's bracket on Thursday afternoon, where the winner of UConn and Cincinnati will await them. Outside, 2 balls, no strikes.
Good pickup there by Schreitenthal, the veteran, now a senior. That ball was about on the half part of the plate and then finished well outside, didn't offer at it. Stares in now ahead of the count.
2-0, a very favorable count for him, and see what he'll get. This is low and inside, 3-0, and you're in danger of walking the bases loaded. And we have a pinch hitter waiting on deck in Memphis. That's going to be Kyle O'Keefe on deck. Very anxious moments in that Houston dugout for sure. 3-0. It's in the strike, does Herdsman.
Schreitenthal doesn't have big power numbers on the year, just 8 doubles, no triples, no homers. What you're looking for here is solid contact off the bat. Move the runners and force Houston to make a throw if they look for extra bases.
And Carrier with good speed over at second. If you can get one in the gap in left center, give him a chance to score from second. Herdsman will step off. Recall for the signs from this catcher, Connor Wong. See the shortstop, Cold Iron, playing a little back and a little to the right behind second base. 3-1. Big swing and a miss by Herdsman. Count is full. And right now, if you're Memphis, you need to get yourself a readjusted strategy, and a beautiful pitch by Herdsman on the inside third.
Schreitenthal certainly looking for extra bases with that home run cut. Has to make contact here.
And Memphis did run themselves out of the inning in the 6th on a called hit and run. To see if they do it here. They don't. Ground ball fouled off. In that 6th inning, we talked about, Garrett. Memphis had runners at first and second with 1 out, with Santana at the plate. He struck out, and then Bowman, who was on first trying to steal second, got tacked out for a double play to end the inning. And you know that's got to be in the back of the minds of this Memphis Tigers staff and Coach Schoenrock. Another 3-2 delivery coming up. Foul tip and out of the glove of Wong.
On the outer half of the plate, Schreitenthal just got a piece of that.
Herdsman in his third plus inning of work out of the bullpen for Carter Henry. Has scattered 4 hits, has not given up a run. looking for his 4th strikeout, and what a big one it would be. Runners at first and second. Another 3-2. And that's going to be a shot that's going to go in the right center field. That will bring home Carter from third. Ball bobbled by the center fielder, Grimsley. Now everyone advance, and here comes Turner, though there will be no throw. So the slide bobbled by Grimsley cost the Cougars another run. It is now 5-2 Memphis.
Schreitenthal with the big high five with his assistant coach. Just 19 RBIs on the season, picks up 2 there. Everybody from Memphis was chugging hard around the bases.
And a beautiful swing on that 3-2 pitch by Schreienthal. And watch that ball over Grimsley right there. Kicked off his glove. And that slide bobble, and him not being able to find it, causes that second run to score. So it'll be a single and then an air charged to John Grimsley to allow those 2 runs to score. And Memphis blows it open 5-2. Grayson Herdsman will go back out, and we'll have a new pitcher come in. And Houston will try and rally back as we have a new arm coming out of the bullpen. We'll tell you who it is coming up right after this on the American Digital Network.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
Third pitcher coming on for the Cougars, down 5-2 will be the sophomore Nolan Bond out of Spring, Texas, trying to clean up and limit the damage for the Tigers in this half of the 8th.
You see him with elite size, 6'6", 205 pounds. This will be his 12th appearance of the year, all in relief. He's 1-0 with a 3.57 ERA, 17 2/3 innings pitched. He's given up 27 hits. Opponents are hitting .338 against him, but in American play, he is lights out. 5 appearances, 6+ innings. He's only given up 1 run with an ERA of 1.4.
And it's big right now for Bond. You've already given up 2 runs in this inning. Need to limit the damage. Memphis up 5-2, top of the 8th. Victor Anderson, Grant Wolvard, and Haley Allen with you here at Spectrum Field in Clearwater, Florida. Pinch hitter coming on for Memphis, Kyle O'Keefe, the junior from Madison, Mississippi. Hitting for Andy Bowman in the 7th slot of the Memphis order. On from the stretch, first pitch is up high, ball 1. Tigers with a pair of runs in the 8th on an RBI single by Schreienthal and then an error by John Grimsley. That allowed Trent Turner to come home to score all the way from first. Tigers up 5-2, trying to advance to the winner's side of the bracket and get themselves a day off. Now misses low, ball 2.
Darren Schoenrock knows something we don't. Andy Bowman had reached base all 3 times today with 2 walks and a single. He puts in Kyle O'Keefe, who's hitting south of the Mendoza line at 169.
But in this situation, you know O'Keefe with some good contact can drive home Schreienthal from second, and what a big run that could be. Dancing off his second, Bond will step back and will chase him back. Memphis lineup, which had been struggling through the first 4 innings, only getting out 1 run on a home run by Gruzelanek. 6 hits in the last 3+ innings. And 4 runs across. Catches the outside corner, count now 2-1. O'Keefe Jr. trying to extend this inning from Memphis. They trail 2-1 after 4. Got a 2-run home run by Carrier in the 5th to give them a 3-2 lead. Got 2 more runs so far here in the top of the 8th. Keefe gets channels, send out one foul off the ricochet down below in the stands behind home plate. Count even 2-2. The Memphis program looking for their 6th 30-win season in the last 7 years. And we'll try to advance to Thursday's winners bracket showdown with the winner of UConn and Cincinnati, who will play next. Bond pickoff throw over to second base. Trendahl gets underneath the tag. And if you lose, you got to turn right back around and play a do or die game tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Eastern time. And have to win at least 4 games to get to the championship game on Sunday afternoon. That's a shot. That'll get the runner over to third base at least, as Hollis will toss it over to Lockhart for out number 2. So at least he gets the job done, does O'Keefe, moving the runner over to third, and now we'll set the table for the catcher, Santana.
Who has struggled today at the plate?
He's come up 3 times, each time with a runner in scoring position. Struck out all 3 times, and those came to end the inning. Once in the 2nd, once in the 4th, and once in the 6th. Ground ball scooped up by Shine. We'll throw it over to Lockhart at first. That will end the inning, but the damage done. The Memphis Tigers with 2 more runs across. They extend the lead 5-2 after 7.5.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
Wind starting to pick up here in Clearwater as morning slowly turns into afternoon at Spectrum Field. Tigers with a 2 spot in the top of the 8th. They extend their lead to 5-2. Victor Anderson, Gary Wolvard, Haley Allen with you, and the rest of our American Digital Network crew. Connor Alexander will make his 9th appearance out of the pen, his 19th appearance overall for the Tigers. 6-3 with a save, a 4.60 ERA, 49 strikeouts, 19 walks, and 72 1/3 innings pitched for the junior from Bartlett, Tennessee. And right now, Garrett, the Memphis is working to get themselves in position where they can set it up for their lights-out closer, Colton Halfcock, in the 9th inning, and having somebody like Alexander to continue that bridge. And with his experience as a starter, will bolster the Tigers very well in this 8th inning, considering the lineup Houston has coming up.
You mentioned it. I mean, they brought in the heavy hitter. This is the guy who's got starting experience. He can go as long as you need him, but they're making a statement. You know, you look at Memphis the last 3 years in this tournament, they lost their tournament opener all 3 years. Conversely, Houston's won all 3 of their game ones, and that's put them in position to make the title game. I like what Coach Schoenrock's doing here. Even if you're taking a starter who might see some action later this week, you are sending a message to everybody. We are going to get into the winner's bracket, and hopefully Alexander can bring him to the promised land.
And he'll have to get through a dangerous part of the order to do so, and not an ominous start as he hits Jake Shiner on the first pitch to lead off the bottom of the 8th. Not the start that you had in mind if you're Alexander. As Shiner gets hit, and will set up the stage for Corey Jolks.
7th, make it 6th hit batter of the year for Alexander. Now a runner on. And if you're Coach Schoenrock, you just take a deep breath.
Just have to reset yourself and focus on the task at hand. And that task right now is trying to retire Jolks, who is 2 for 3. Breaking ball inside. Jolks checks his swing, but it's a call strike, says home plate umpire Scott Graham. Jolks singled in the first, got thrown out trying to stretch a double to a triple in the third, and grounded out to third back in the 5th. Throw back over to first.
In the regular season matchup, Alexander took the loss. He also was the starter. 6 innings pitched, 7 hits, 5 runs, all earned.
And right now, you know Alexander will love nothing more to get a little bit of redemption after that tough start he had against Houston about a month ago. Series that Memphis lost 2 out of 3 to the Cougars. 1-1, no outs, bottom of the 8th. Shiner got hit by a pitch on the first pitch thrown by Alexander to start the inning. Jokes with a shot back up the middle, and the Tigers will send the tying run to the plate. And just as quickly, it's that Houston middle of the order, so dangerous. You see it there with Shiner getting hit, and now Jokes with a C&I single back up the middle. And now you have the designated player, first team conference selection, Joe Davis, coming to the plate. And right now, no action going on in the Memphis bullpen. Davis reached base twice. He's 1 for 2 with a walk. Single and popped up to first. Alexander will look back over to Shiner at second. Memphis try to hold on and advance to Thursday's winners bracket game. Right at the knees to Davis. 0-1.
Davis, a good 230 pounds now in his sophomore year. He was the rookie of the year last season when he set the freshman record. 14 home runs, one of the top RBI producers in the conference as well.
Misses low, and a nice stop behind the plate by Jason Santana. Count even 1-1. We'll ask for a new baseball from home plate umpire Scott Graham. Talked about Houston, how they were 31-1 when they've led after 7 innings. When they've tied or trailed after 7 innings this year, Houston 3-17. But 2 of those wins have come in conference play. Heavy swing on a breaking ball by Davis. Count 1-2.
77 miles an hour on the breaking pitch. Davis can't make solid contact with that. Let's watch the loop from right to left. That one's hard to pick up.
Alexander trying to get that first big out and retire the dangerous Davis. Will foul it off just to the right of the on-deck circle for the Tigers in front of their dugout. UConn and Cincinnati. Their next game, as you see Cooper Cold Iron on deck for Houston. Houston, the co-regular season champions, along with UCF. Coming into the tournament as the 2 seed. Outside, Alexander just missed his spot. Count even 2-2.
That one got pumped up to 88 miles an hour. The last couple of pitches were a healthy diet of breaking stuff to Davis, who's got 21 home runs and 102 runs driven in the last 2 seasons combined. Big pitch coming up.
If you see, maybe you send those runners in motion, especially with Jokes with his dynamic burst with a good lead at first base. Runners do not go. Davis with a ground ball foul on outside third. This is the part of the lineup that Houston wanted to have up, knowing they would be trailing. And with Davis's power credentials, as Garrett alluded to, 21 home runs in his first 2 seasons wearing the Houston colors. That's low, gets away from Santana. Throw to third base is high. Shine gets underneath the tag of Trenthal. Cougars at second and third. And the count is full to Davis.
Pretty athletic play by the man behind the plate, Santana. If the throw's a little bit lower, it was perfectly on line to get your second out of the inning. Instead, you watch this one sail on him just a little bit. If that one had been closer to the bag, you'd probably had an out.
Nice job by Trenthal leaping up and getting that close play over at third. Now pitch, Davis with a high pop-up will stay in the infield. Turner makes the catch right in front of Cruz Atlantic. A huge first out by Alexander in the 8th. And I'll bring up the shortstop, Cooper Coldiron.
You know, if you're Todd Whitting in that position, you've got 2 on in scoring position and nobody out. You got to get it. You got to barrel a ball up into the outfield and sacrifice the runners in there with the fly. Instead, Memphis comes through and gets a pop on the infield.
See Shiner over at third. Started hitting, being hit on the first pitch thrown by Connor Alexander. Up steps Coldiron. He swings at the first pitch. That one will go foul. And you see how the Memphis infield, Garrett, is playing back. They'll concede the run, but to get the out in the process, knowing that they have a 3-run cushion to work with, and they're 5 outs away from moving on to Thursday afternoon. Alexander's been working from the stretch, all but 1 pitch in his inning. This is outside, 1-1. Cougars down by 3. Coldiron representing the tying run. Runners at second and third. Making ball drops down by Alexander. Count 1-2.
Connor's done a nice job working himself ahead in this count to a dangerous hitter with 2 on in scoring position.
A pinch hitter on deck in Triolo's spot of the order will be Grayson Padgett, who will be pinch hitting, waiting on deck for the Cougars. Coldiron gets in front of that one. Will send that one foul. Just in front of the Memphis contingent behind the dugout. And there you see Padgett on deck. He'll be coming up to hit next for Houston. Alexander trying to protect his 5-2 Memphis lead and get their first win in their opening game in the American tournament. That'll be a high chopper that will go foul along third base side. Right near our broadcast colleague Haley Outen, who will be interviewing a winning coach and our player of the game when this contest comes to its conclusion. Very anxious moments for this Houston ball club and their fan base. Down by 3. 1-2 to Coldiron. Breaking ball. He'll send one up the middle. That will bring home at least one. A hold up Jokes at third. So Coldiron with a nice single on the 1-2 pitch. Cuts the deficit to 2. It's 5-3.
For Coldiron, one of the biggest hits of his young career, and it always feels great when you guess correctly. Thought the curveball was coming, waited for it, barreled it up into shallow center field, and makes it a 2-run game.
And the ball was hit so shallow to center field, he had to hold up Jokes at third. Don't want to avoid what happened to him when he came up in that third, tried to stretch a double to a triple and got thrown out. And especially when you're down by 2 now, you don't want to give up that you don't want to give up that extra run. Now Santana will go out in the rubber, and we'll have a little visit.
There's Coach McNichol walking out to the hill, pitching coach for the Memphis Tigers. Got quite a bit of experience with this team. And Memphis with an arm getting warm.
And that's Blake Bennett, the right-handed redshirt sophomore, getting loose in that Tiger bullpen.
So Grayson Padgett comes to the plate, who had been a regular starter for the Cougars, 45 starts on the year, and he has a very respectable 34 runs driven in on the year. With 1 out and a runner on third, I'm a big fan of barreling up a ball and trying to sack somebody in, get something into the outfield. We'll see how they address it here for the Cougars.
And really, if you're Houston, you also have the ability as well, with good speed over at first base and cold iron, do you try and send him from second base, knowing you got Jokes at third, try and get yourself out of the double play. Memphis with the infield at double play depth. You have the opportunity to try and send cold iron. Of course, with Jokes at third, maybe a delayed double steal is a possibility as well. So plenty of options at the disposal for this Cougar team. Padgett comes in to pinch hit. Cougars down 5-3, but they have the tying run at first, 1 down. Cold iron does not go for now. Alexander throws the first pitch strike.
Alexander has wins in 4 of his last 5 appearances, picked up victories against UT Martin and a pair in conference play, East Carolina and Tulane.
You have that experience as somebody who can be a starter and also come in relief. Making his 19th appearance on the season is Alexander. Those over to cold iron at first.
If the Tigers can keep the lead, the starter Jonathan Boland would factor in as the winner and improve his record on the year to 5-5.
And subsequently, the loss will be falling to Carter Henry if Houston can't hold on. Looks over to third and doesn't throw over to first. Now, the classic moves that was outlawed the last few years by Major League Baseball.
Got to at least make a throw if you're going to go to third.
Alexander again from the stretch, the 0-1 to the pinch hitter Padgett. He'll send one foul. Just to the left of the entranceway at Spectrum Field. And now Padgett, you're down 2 strikes. You'll like to get a ball in the air far enough to give Jokes a chance to score with his good speed at third. And secondarily, if you do hit it deep enough, maybe give a chance to cold iron to try and tag up to advance to second if it's hit deep enough. Oh, smash one foul right in front of the Memphis dugout along first.
We saw both teams from our next game walk into the stadium earlier. They are sitting behind their respective dugouts, just taking in the ball game. UConn over behind third base, and Cincinnati, the Bearcats, behind the first base side in Memphis.
Higher seeded teams will serve as the designated home team in our 4 games today. So that's why UConn behind the third base dugout, as Garrett alluded to earlier. Another 0-2 count coming by Alexander. Ball gets away from Santana, but not far enough to give the runners a chance to advance. Santana's been very busy behind home plate during these last few innings. He's made a couple of stops behind the plate that have been so crucial in keeping Houston runners from advancing. Just in that last 0-2 pitch that missed low and skipped away to his left was a perfect example of that. Alexander from the stretch to 1-2. Breaking ball misses outside.
Padgett with a good pickup there. That ball was outside the second it left the pitcher's hand, and he lays off of it. This is a huge part of the ball game here for Padgett, who's got a couple of sac flies on his resume this year. He's a .300 hitter. There's Coach McNichol. What's he got dialed up for Connor Alexander?
You have to think maybe on the 2-2, try and throw something outside, tailing away. Try and get him to fish. Instead he'll try to throw it over the cold iron at first. Cold iron came into today 1 for 1 in stolen bases. Did have a steal after his single into 6.
Houston with 1 run already in this inning. That broke a streak of 5 scoreless frames.
2-2. Breaking ball down the right field line. That one will go fair. That one is out of here. The pinch hitter Padgett comes through. And Houston regains the lead 6-5. Second home run of the year by Grayson Padgett. And he'll have a hammer waiting for him in front of the Houston dugout. What a big swing by Padgett. That ball just hugged down the right field line, about 329 towards the Wawa sign, and that one just snuck inside the foul pole, and Houston gains the lead once again. Right off the foul pole, and Houston now up 6-5.
Connor Alexander gives up just his 8th home run of the entire season, and Padgett blows it up, and will probably have him come out of the ball game. Unbelievable turn of events for the Cougars.
They came in with 3 victories when trailing after 7 innings, 2 of them in conference play. Could they be in line for a third? Padgett with the pinch hit 3-run home run. Cougars regained the lead 6-5 as Lockhart will set to take on the 4th Memphis pitcher. We'll tell you his credentials after this.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
The Houston dugout still buzzing after that pinch hit 3-run bomb by Grayson Padgett to give the Cougars a 6-5 lead. Memphis with that 3rd pitcher coming on in relief, and it's going to be Blake Bennett.
Bennett got some good size, 6'2", a right-hander, a redshirt sophomore, and a Memphis native. He's made 27 appearances on the season and 1 start in those relief appearances, 34 1/3 innings pitched. He's given up 35 hits, but just 14 runs, 13 were earned, and struck out 28. Opponents hitting .273 against him. What do we need to see from him coming into this ballgame? The air has been let out of Memphis's sails. He just needs to go up there and throw strikes, right?
Those strikes, get himself out of the inning, and get yourself back up in the top of the 9th inning because you've had success against this Houston bullpen after after taking on Connor Henry in those 5 innings that he started the game with for Houston. And by the way, for Memphis, they'll have their 9-1-2 hitters coming up in the top of the 9th. But right now, Bennett will have to deal with Lockhart and then Grimsley behind him. Now Lockhart reached base twice. He's 1 for 2. Takes the first pitch strike from new pitcher Blake Bennett. Alexander goes a third of an inning, gives up 3 hits, 4 runs. The inning all started when he had that first pitch, hit Jake Shiner, and everything just rolled downhill from there, punctuated with that pinch hit 3-run home run by Grayson Padgett. Houston now leading 6-5. Still only 1 out in the bottom of the 8th. It's outside 2-1.
You mentioned Padgett, just 2 home runs on the season. I can't imagine when that other one happened, it was as big as this one. I mean, that is a clutch play in the 8th inning for Padgett.
And now Houston back in position, as that one will go foul in the stands. They're in the concession stands, and the Yukon Huskies right behind the third base dugout. They'll be waiting for their next game versus Cincinnati. As right now scheduled to be a 12:45 first pitch. As you see the defending tournament champions. Another foul ball off the bat of the freshman first baseman Lockhart.
As is the case with Coach Pender's club, they have got pitching for days. 4 different pitchers across the 2 all-conference teams. They're set up as well as anybody to try and make another run into the semis.
4 all-conference pitchers for the Huskies lined up, ready to go when they start their quest to defend the tournament championship. Lockhart gets rung up, and Bennett gets a big strikeout for out number 2 in the 8th. The ramifications of that home run for Padgett, as you see Bennett bring up Lockhart, a nice pitch inside.
Bennett knew it too. Really nice piece of pitching that just stayed elevated enough at the knees to get the ring up. And now he's an out away from getting his team back up to the plate.
First pitch swung by the pitcher. Tyler Belamovich will go into center field. And Belamovich with a pinch hit single to extend the Houston half of the 8th.
Now 4 hits in the inning, plus that hit by pitch. 5 base runners for Houston here in the 8th, showing a whole lot of backbone, rallying from 4 down.
And first pitch swinging by the freshman. Will extend the inning, and they'll bring up the catcher Connor Wall. Long 1 for 4. Flew out to center his last time up. Cougars now with the lead 6-5, bottom of the 8th. First pitch swung through and missed by Wall. Houston between the 4th and the 7th had only 1 hit. And in this 8th inning alone, as Garrett mentioned, 4 hits, 5 base runners. That one goes foul on the third base side. So a strong start for Houston. He had 6 hits in the first 3 innings. Kind of a lull during those next 4 innings, with only not 1 hit. And now 4 hits in this bottom of the 8th. The 3-run pitch hit home run by Grayson Padgett has given the Cougars a 6-5 lead. Wong will appeal to first, and Wong does go around, and he's not too thrilled. That ends the inning. But the Houston Cougars, the co-regular season champions, showing you why they share the crown. A pinch hit 3-run shot by Grayson Padgett. 4 runs for the Cougars. They lead 6-5 after 8 in Clearwater.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
The 6-seeded Cincinnati Bearcats set to get ready to warm up for their contest versus the UConn Huskies. As you're still set for a 12:45 first pitch between the 3 and 6 seed, and Nolan Bond, who came into the game trying to keep the Houston deficit down to 3, now 3 outs away from picking up his second win of the season. They'll have to get through the 9, 1, and 2 portion of the order to do so. It'll be Carlos Williams leading off, followed by the top of the order in Tyler Webb and Brandon Kruzelanek. First pitch takes by Williams is a strike.
Houston does have Aaron Fletcher, who leads the team with 6 saves on the year. This is a one-run game, fairly tight.
And that one hits Williams. No, they're going to say he leaned into it. He dug that elbow down. They're going to say that's a dead ball. And out comes Houston. Out comes Memphis head coach Darren Schoenrock, not too pleased with Scott Graham with that call.
I'd be arguing, too, if he's going to take the tying run off the base pass for me.
And Schoenrock is making his case that, hey, that ball clearly hit him. And the rule is you have to make an attempt. Either you have to make an attempt to get out of the way, or you can't dive your elbow, or you can't deliberately dive yourself in a position to get hit by the pitch, as Coach Schoenrock will walk back over to first. And here it is again, Garrett.
Could go either way. I think the official made the right call, though. He kind of brought his arm down. But at the same time, he wore it. I'd like to see him go to first base.
Now low and outside 2-1. And again, that's really a judgment call by the umpire. He has to decide whether or not there was intent by the hitter to get himself in that position to be hit by the pitch.
Baseball rules a little bit different than softball. If you're in the box, that's your box. You get hit by a pitch, you're going to first base. A little bit different with baseball.
Count 3-1 to Williams. And will be granted time by Scott Graham. Bond trying to close the door on this come-from-behind victory. That one hits him again, and this time no argument. He'll go over to first. So Williams hit by a pitch twice. The second time counts, so he'll go over to first. And
would you believe in 18 innings pitched, that's the first time Bond has hit a batter all year? Not a good time for it.
No, not at all. Now we're going to see some action in the Houston bullpen. You alluded to a possible short leash for Bond in the top of the 9th with this a one-run game. He hits Williams. And that'll be the only batter Bond will see in the top of the 9th. A nice ovation for Bond. Came in, pitched an inning plus. And Houston will go on. And we'll come on and bring John King, trying to set things up in the top of the 9th.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
In a city known for doing things our way, There's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
And it's a Houston closer coming on, Aaron Fletcher. As Garrett mentioned, we would see the lefty coming on. Tying run at first, no outs in the top of the ninth. Houston up 6-5, and Fletcher finds himself in a tough situation, but he's been able to get out of these situations all season long.
Fletcher with 6 saves on the year, a 2-1 record, and a 2.08 ERA. In 17 appearances, he's given up 31 hits over 34 2/3 innings, 33 strikeouts. Opponents are hitting less than 240 against him. He's got to come away with all 3 outs here in the ninth and close out the Tigers.
And he'll have to deal with the top of the order that has done a lot of the damage for Memphis: Webb, Gruzelanek, and Carrier. First pitch to Tyler Webb is up, ball 1.
If the score remains the same, Victor, Bond would still factor in the victory, even though he was pulled here after hitting the first batter, Williams.
Right.
Twice.
Yes, twice. The first one got called back as Williams was said he leaned into the pitch and was a dead ball. Count now even 1-1 to Webb. Bond will be credited with the win if Houston holds on. Alexander will be tagged with the loss after giving up those 4 runs in the third of an inning in the 8th. That's a shot, with a ground ball, go over to second for 1, and they'll get over to first for the double play. Taylor made 6-4-3 double play, and Houston 1 out away from moving on to the winner's side on Thursday.
What an incredible pitch coming out of the bullpen, inheriting a bit of a jam, tying run on base, keeps it a little bit lower, right back up the middle, and despite that trepidation, gets the twin killing. Now they need 1 out.
6-4-3, cold iron to Hollis to Lockhart, and now Fletcher finds himself 1 out away from moving Houston on to Thursday afternoon. First pitch to Gruzelanek is in for a strike, and now if you get Gruzelanek out, you don't have to deal with Chris Carrier, who's on deck. Gruzelanek has reached base twice. He's 1 for 3. He misses down low. Count even 1-1. Haley Allen will have the Victoria's head coach and our player of the game. Should Houston hold on? Ground ball should end it. Over to Lockhart at first, and the Cougars, thanks to a 4 spot in the bottom of the 8th, come from behind and knock off the Memphis Tigers by a score of 6-5. A tremendous effort for Houston. The middle of the order doing the damage, and the big blow, the pinch hit 3-run home run by Grayson Padgett. Houston will advance to the winner's bracket. Haley Uten will have a talk with the Victoria's head coach and Grayson Padgett right after this.
We are American. The conference of opportunity. The opportunity to chase dreams. The opportunity to make your mark and change the game. Because that's power. We are power.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
For the fourth time this season, the Houston Cougars, after being tied or trailing after the seventh inning, bounce rally back and get 4 runs in the bottom of the eighth to get the victory, 6-5. And Garrett, a tremendous effort for Houston and a victorious effort for the Cougars here this afternoon.
Well, they were down 5-2 in the eighth, 5 outs away from Memphis, but instead the big home run. We'll go down with Haley Otten now. She has a victorious coach to interview.
Coach, with this game being moved up a day and a little bit earlier than expected, you know, it wouldn't have been a huge surprise for these guys to come out and have a slow start today, but they put up 2 runs on the board pretty early and then obviously had a fantastic finish. What did you do to help them prepare to get their mindset ready to play earlier and sooner?
Well, the biggest concern I had was Bolin. You know, he's coming off a weekend where he didn't pitch, and he's been one of the best in our league for the conference play. So I was proud of us for getting after him and scratching a few runs on him. But you know, they play with a purpose. They play all 9 innings. They've done that all year. We're used to being down because it's, you know, we've had a lot of comeback wins, and Padgett with the huge knock right there. So I'm just proud of him. We just got to keep it going.
Home runs seem to be the theme this year, and your decision to pinch hit Grayson Padgett there in the 8th inning, what went into that?
Well, he's an everyday player for us. He's a little banged up right now, so it's just a bullet. You know, you keep in the chamber until you need to fire it. So we decided to fire a bullet right there, and it worked out.
Moving forward for your team to be able to rally back the way that they did, they could have easily given up, but big win. You're headed to the winner's bracket. You get a day of rest tomorrow. What does that say about your team that they didn't give up and that they were able to rally back and fight?
No, they don't give up. You know, we may mess some things up in the game, and we've done that quite a bit today, but they don't ever stop playing. That's one thing you got to tip your hat about. This team's been through a lot this year. They've been through as much adversity as any team in the country, so they never stop playing. They just keep grinding.
All right, thanks, Coach. We'll see you out here on Thursday.
All right, thanks.
Haley, thank you so much. And he mentioned it, that bullet in the chamber. He knew you had Padgett, who plays every day, available for him to come in the spot like this. He used that bullet, and it came through for him in that 8th inning.
I'll tell you what, these season tournament opening wins for Houston just keep mounting up. In 2014, they beat Temple. 2 years in a row, they beat Cincinnati. Now this year, they rally back in the 8th and beat Memphis. They've been in the winner's bracket all 4 years. Pretty impressive.
We mentioned Garrett Padgett. He stands by with Haley.
I do. I have Grayson Padgett right here, the home run hero, and he has the hammer. We've been talking about it all game. Home runs have been the theme this season. Coach decides to pinch hit you there in the 8th inning. What was going through your mind heading up to the plate?
That's a moment that every athlete lives for. You know, you want to be in the light. You want to be the hero or whatever. But I know it wasn't that hit that won the game. I really want to point out that our whole lineup never gave up, even when we were down 5-2. And I mean, we're getting guys on base, and our lineup just doesn't give up, and we're hard to get out.
Heading into this tournament as the co-regular season champions, obviously a little bit of pressure, but all 8 teams, they're here with a clean slate this week. Big win heading into the winner's bracket, get a day off tomorrow. How much confidence does that give your team knowing that you guys can rally back late in the game and not give up?
I mean, it is a confidence boost, but we know we have that, you know, so I'm not going to say it's going to change our next game, because we know we can do that every game. Of course, we're going to try to get ahead next time early in the game, but we know we can do that every game against anybody we face.
We've been talking about this hammer object the whole game. You got to tell fans about it. What is the meaning behind this? What does it mean? Have you ever gotten to walk into the stadium with it in the next game, raising this thing high and bringing it with you?
I actually have not. This is the first time I've gotten the hammer. We got it about halfway through the season. So this is our Thor hammer. If you hit a home run, you get the Thor hammer. You know, I mean, it's a symbol of strength, I guess. You know, you hit a bomb, you get to carry it around. You know, it's just a cool thing that we do.
All right, well, keep a good eye on it. We'll see you out here on Thursday. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Haley. And he'll be carrying that hammer all around for the next couple of days as Houston will advance to the winner's bracket. They'll take on the winner of our next game, UConn and Cincinnati, set for a 12:45 first pitch. Houston 6 runs, 11 hits, 1 error. Memphis, 5 runs, 8 hits, no errors. Houston ends up with the victory thanks to the Garrett Paget 3-run home run. For Garrett Woodward, Haley Allen, and the rest of our American Digital Network crew, I'm Victor Anderson. We'll talk to you at 12:45. So long for now.